Well. Ha. Just another day in the sunshine and
Hell yeah, boy. Shout out to De La Soul, baby.
Hell yeah. On that note. Alrighty. Welcome back to another episode of the Lyrically Acclaimed Podcast. I'm your host, Ill-Minded Taz, and I'm with the one and only ARCHIE, man. Archie Boys in the building.
What it do, everybody?
What's going on?
Shout out to all the people that listen out there. Shout out to everybody that comment. Shout out to everybody that follows us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Shout out to everybody that's just now hearing us for the first time. And I'm going to steal something from Joe Budden. Maybe this is the last time you're listening to us, but shout out to you too.
Facts.
Hey, man, before we always get started, man, we let you know, man, this is a podcast of hip-hop, gaming, culture. We talk about whatever we feel, actually. And if you hear something on here, remember, it is our opinion. And it is us just having conversation, talking about things the way we like to talk about them. Mm-hmm. So as we get into this, keep that in mind.
And enjoy the night.
Yeah.
Before you know, how's everything? How's everything going?
Man, first off, man, I was just looking up. We listening to that De La Soul shit, man. I want to, man. I don't know if anybody even really know. Like, if you ain't really tapping in, I guess you won't know. But like, Mass Appeal is all these old heads that are coming out and dropping these records.
Yeah.
That's who's doing it. It's his record label. I guess Nas got something to do with it. I got to do more research on it.
That's what I've been hearing. Mass Appeal been doing their thing here.
I know they did the Run the Jewels record a while back, but I'm just happy that they are keeping hip hop at least on some level hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And I'm happy about that. They're not playing the industry games. You know what I'm saying? That
then
makes
they do,
it feel good.
If I'm correct, I think they did the Alchemist and Thing album. Mm-hmm. They've been on the run.
They about to drop this De La Soul.
They about to drop this De La Soul album. Yeah, they've been going.
Well, besides that, my week's been a hectic week, man. I ain't gonna lie, I struggled to make it through this week. Not only was I sick at the beginning of the week, which if you hear my voice right now, I'm really getting over that.
So that means there may not be no yelling today.
No, I really need some hot tea and some honey. Shout out to my pops. I been sick at the top of the week, 2 days. Then my son had to go to Lubbock to have surgery on his legs, and then work.
Yeah,
work hit like a ton of bricks out of nowhere,
bro. And
then the end of the week started out really. I mean, Friday started like okay, it might, but then Friday just ended shitty. So I'm just grateful to be here. Thank God that I get to learn new lessons and have new experiences and push past my limits.
Hell yeah.
How about yourself, my brother?
Yeah, same old. It's the first week I could say there was no gym workout this week.
Yeah, same here.
It sucked. Same thing, It's been a rocky, I could say kind of a rocky week with everything, especially with work, trying to prepare for something that kind of fall through. But besides that, hit with a freight train of a one hell of a goddamn night, and then turn around and we here.
Yeah,
real shit. We here. Like it's just been one of them weeks for me. Like it's just been up and down expectations. Like I always say, expectations sometimes lead to a lot of disappointment. So it's just been one of them rocky ass weeks. I was like, all right, cool. Yeah. You just gotta shrug it off and go like, next week should be better. That's all I can say. Next week should be better.
Yeah, and
we'll see what goes from there.
I need all of the what is it? What did they do? Astrology chicks, or I need y'all to let me know if Venus was in retrograde or whatever. Mercury was doing the jig on the moon or whatever y'all be saying. Because what was this week? Because Jesus Christ,
this week was different.
Yeah,
it was different.
It definitely made me have to push through. Boy, I'm talking about some 3 days straight, hardly any sleep. And that ain't for the weak, man. It's really it's really a struggle when you want to sleep. I got to the point by Friday. I got to the point where I was so tired, but like I could fall asleep wherever I was at. Like if I wanted to, I could fall asleep instantly. But
That's how exhausted you were.
yeah, but I still had stuff to do, so I just kept pushing through the day, and boy, man, make sure you're getting 8 hours at least.
Yeah.
Get you some sleep, get you some good food in your belly, eat, drink, be merry, but get you some sleep, man.
And if you
sleep
got
is important.
And if you get downtime, really relax.
Yeah, keep
Like
your feet up.
don't do too much extra when you officially get downtime, because that's one thing with all of us. We get downtime sometimes and we try to do as much as we can or much as we have to do, but we really don't. It's like, especially when you lack that relaxation and you've been, whatever your work schedule is, if it's like us in the oil field, you never know. It could be an 8-hour day, 10-hour day, 24-hour day, or whatever it goes, you know what I mean? When you get that actual downtime, take it, relax yourself, go to sleep.
Yeah, I agree with that, because like you only got so much. The human mind is as fragile as it is as strong. You got to recharge your batteries. There ain't nothing wrong with chilling and having a moment to yourself. It's a part of mental health. It's a part of mental health, being like, you know what, I'm not dealing with nothing today.
Facts.
I'm gonna sit here and just be a couch potato, if that's what it means, or I'm gonna sit here and focus just on my family and have a family day. Whatever your downtime is, take it and make sure you enjoy it and soak it up, because we don't got much time on this earth, and we got to realize, like, you know what, work. Yeah, I mean, the only way you're getting anywhere in life is if you go hard. Yes, we understand that, but at the end of the day, man, you don't want to be looking back in your 80s and being like, I missed so much.
And that's what happens, because at the end of the day, you strive for so much and you try to make it for what you believe is going to be better, but then when you miss out on important things, it kind of makes it go like, was it all worth it? You start questioning, was it all worth it, when the fact that you could have took them days where you could have just chill out with your family, with your friends, birthdays and all that, weddings and all that, you know what I mean? So I always say, take them moments, bro. Really take them moments. Take them down times when you get it. Relax when you can. Enjoy moments when you should. You feel me?
In fact, that's what I did today. I ain't nothing. Nothing. I woke up. I took care of my kids. I watched. Oh man, there's this show. Shout out to Netflix. I know Netflix be going through it over there on X, but over here, I still rocks with Netflix. There's this show called The Last Samurai Standing. Watch it. If you like Japanese culture and you like samurai swordsman stuff, boy, watch that stuff. It's 6 episodes. It's the first chapter is based off of a novel, and it's good. You can it's originally recorded in Japanese, but you can get the English dub
on it.
And they do a really good job of the English dub. Like the lips are like, you wouldn't even know you were watching. I feel like I was watching anime.
Ooh,
for real.
Hell yeah!
Like, and then it was so good. I would switch back. I would switch to the Japanese because I just wanted to hear it in its cult,
in its natural state.
Yeah, because you're seeing it in Japanese. Everything's old school Japanese. I want to say it's from the Ming dynasty or Ming, whatever. It was right when samurai were going. It's based in when samurai were kind of getting aged out, and technology was coming over into Japan. Japan was starting to open itself up kind of to the west.
Oh, okay.
It was
to
getting
the west
out of its feudalistic state.
Yeah.
And starting to become more of a global player in America. I mean, in America. Boy, I'm American. Excuse me. And global player in the world. But yeah, it's really good. The first 6 episodes, really, really. I'm talking about. I started watching it last night. I took a little break to listen to JBP, and then I finished it all the rest of the day.
Hell yeah!
And then I took a nap. But other than that, go look up The Last Samurai. It's really good. If anybody who's into anime, I think would be into this show. Yeah.
And I've been tapping back into, which is crazy, Big Bang Theory.
Oh yeah,
I've been watching it back again because it's one of the things I was telling my wife that earlier. I was like, what's so crazy? Why I always click Big Bang Theory? I said because I always stop at a certain point, because if I get It's just my habit. Like if I watch something for too long, then I feel like I gotta change my whole situation. Then I never go back because I never finish the whole series.
feel
That's
that,
number
man.
one. Number two, when it comes down to Big Bang Theory, it's like sometimes you put on I put it on like when you have them night episodes of night shows, you just put something on. You watch it, then you always miss like major episodes. Then you wake up, but you continue watching it because you're there. Like okay, cool, I'm going to continue. So I was telling her, I was like, yo. When it comes down to this series, I was like, it doesn't matter where I start. I could start back at 1. There's something in season 1 that I've always missed that I'm like, I've never watched this before. So it always makes it feel like it's a brand new situation for me.
Yeah.
So that's why I've been watching it for this damn near since Friday. I've been pretty much watching Big Bang Theory, and are we on season 3 now? Season 3, season 4?
Yeah, I don't think
So-
Big Bang Theory gets the love as a sitcom it deserves. I remember my nana loved it. My grandma, she loved that. So my girl, she was watching Young Sheldon. I think she got all the way caught up with it or whatever. But
I think they finished now. And I'm watching.
supposedly they doing a spinoff about the brother and the,
Yeah, Georgie and is on Paramount. I watched that one. It's not bad. It's funny. I like it. What's it called? His first marriage. That's what he call it now. His Georgie and Mandy's first marriage. So, so is that whole dynamic after Georgie? What I think is he's out of high school, but I think he's just 19 and she's older, but she never knew his age, so she
was
got
like in her
pregnant.
20s or
Yeah,
something.
she got pregnant by him. So now they're going through that whole dynamic of trying to figure this out or whatever. It's a good show. I like it. It gives you that whole sitcom feel, and that's why I enjoy it.
Yeah. Speaking of, since we're on the topic of TV shows, the spinoff that they're about to do with Snowfall, I can't wait
That's
for that
gonna
to
be
drop.
interesting.
Yeah, Leon. I want to see Leon. It's basically from Leon's point of view, and supposedly it's about him being a rapper. Yeah, coming up in the rap game or having something to do with the rap industry in like around the '90s
Yes,
when
sir.
West Coast rap started really booming. So I would love to see that.
Oh, I'll be interested in that.
Yeah,
It takes
I'm
a whole
definitely
different
gonna
spin.
be watching.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
I wonder if they're going to bring Franklin back in any capacity because I know he ends up being I don't know if he's a drug addict or if he's just insane. But at the end of Snowfall,
Alcoholic at this point.
yeah, he went crazy for sure.
Which you can't blame him, man. That went all the way from I was just selling something. It went from selling small to end up being kingpin type shit. And right there at the end, when I could get all my money back, my mama done killed.
Yeah. You know what I
Yeah.
thought? One thing that I think that show did real well is the aspect of how crazy it could get, right? Because next thing you know, you're on top of the world. And then you're making all this money. The CIA's involved, and then people are dying left and right. Family starts splitting. Things people you used to be close with start being enemies. And
yeah.
it just
It
shows
shows-
like really how
Deep it gets.
Yeah, that's-
especially how further you go into that, it shows how deep it could get, how friendships and bonds can be broken. You know what I mean? Family could be torn apart. How the fact that, whoever's involved is at risk at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And how it pretty much make you even a mark too, how it puts a mark on you, puts a target on your back, because at the end of the day, it's like, okay, cool, you making so much money by doing this. Now you got pretty much the feds involved on you because they're trying to stop you or try to be a part of you. But it's so much in depth that for us that we're not in that realm, it kind of shines a light like, damn, this could really get that deep, bro.
Yeah, facts.
From just a petty drug dealer to now you really on top of the world.
Yeah, man.
You feel me? It's just like, god damn, like this shit gets deep.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth in that. And that's one thing because I know, like I said, I know some dudes. I done seen them. Definitely around here. It happened real quick around here. Dudes spark up like sparklers and burn out real quick. But anyway, besides all that,
The only thing I can say what's interesting about that show, it gives you perspectives of everybody, from the petty dealer that becomes a kingpin to the family dynamic of the situation where you had aunties and uncles that didn't want to do it, but they love you so much, they're part of it. Your homeboy comes in. And even, like we said, Leon's whole journey of the situation where he had a crackhead girlfriend and it showed a different light of her sobriety and how they've changed their lives.
You know, one thing I liked about that, now that you bring it up, is he stuck with her through that. No matter what she was going, you know, he knew when to back off when he backed off, you know, but he was always there for her. And I feel like that shows, like, that's one dynamic in that show that was, like, pure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it was really pure. I mean, you gonna make me watch Snowfall again.
You just gotta run it back.
Yeah, I'll run it back. That shit's so good, boy.
Yeah, bro. It's a pure situation, and it shows pure love, and it shows really what the fact of the matter is, what you would do for somebody that you love, even when they struggling, even when they at their lowest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, no matter how many times you try to push her away about the situation, he still cared for her to the point that, you know, he helped her out. And then when they got sober, they went on a journey together after her sobriety, and where they have to see what their walks of life is, especially when they went to Africa. And they learned, you know what I mean? So it's like they got their awakening and their enlightenment somewhere, where the fact that this, what I'm doing here, is not really it. And I ain't gonna lie, that goes to show, like, real, it makes it relatable for a lot of things in real life, where, you know, we know people that came through a different situation. You know, I mean, we even hear from artists that went through the hustle mentality, hustle life from the streets, and now they're big CEOs. You know what I mean? Corporations type stuff, like, where they're not there no more. They're not doing that type of thing no more. You feel me? They feel like they went through that they went from point A to point B, and now they're here. Why should I go back to that? When the fact that this is bringing me more success, I'm happier here. I don't have to watch my back no more doing this. I'm good where I'm at. I don't need to go back to the streets and do that shit. Where the fact that I'm making everything legitly now, I'm making real money. I'm driving everything that I wish for. The house, the mansion that I wanted, I got it. The car that I want to drive, I got it. The money that's coming in, I got it. Like, why do I need to go back to that when here, this gave it to me? You feel me? It helped me elevate it. Yes, it took your hustle money to get here, but you pretty much invested that into yourself.
Yeah.
And now you elevated to a point where it's like, I don't need to, that's not the type of hustle I need to do anymore. You feel me? I'm grinding on real shit. I want to, if it's a book talk, telling people like, yo, this is where I'm at. If it's doing movies like 50 Cent, you know what I mean? Doing that that's a different type of hustle, making products for people to purchase, if it's merch or if it's invested into liquor, if it's invested into shoe brands, or if it's invested into, like, even if it's like cups or whatever it is, vapes or whatever. They found another avenue to get out of one situation that makes it more profitable for them. You know what I mean? It's a different hustle.
You know what? And you're saying a lot of stuff that it's gonna resonate later on in the podcast. We got a topic that we're gonna talk about. You know, but nah, facts. You on a motherfucking roll right there.
Yeah, bro.
You know, because I'll say it like this, man. Real street folks don't want to be in the streets. It's only been this new generation that's seen a lot of this street life stuff. You know, I remember some old heads when I was young. Like, bro, man, you got other talents. Do that. Focus on your music, or you like reading. Focus on that. Like, why you want to be out here? You know what I'm saying? There ain't nothing good out here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They try to direct you away from it, but you know, nowadays it's glorified to a point where. Anyway, we'll come back to that. Because unless we want to jump on it.
Yo, man, we can.
All right.
Since we here already.
Yeah, we here.
We here already.
So basically, I was scrolling through I was scrolling through Facebook, and I seen this video of a guy reacting. It was a reaction to a post, right? But and I can't tell if the original post came from Facebook or if it came from Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. But basically, this chick basically said 9 to 5s is for men who couldn't make it in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Which, again, let me say that one more time. 9 to 5s is for men who couldn't cut it in the streets. You know what I'm saying? And maybe I might have even cleaned it up for her a little bit, you know. But when I first seen it, and when he first, like, the dude reacted to it, it was like,
what the fuck?
Yeah, like, it's like, it don't make no sense. What? But at the end of the day, like, I guess you could say, look, I'll put it like this: you damn right. Niggas who don't want to be in the streets is working jobs. What's wrong with that?
That's a fact. That's the same thing I was looking at it because I said I was never in the streets for myself. So I was like, for me personally, I'm like, okay, it wasn't I never chose that life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't something that I chose to do. So at the end of the day, I worked a 9 to 5, or 12 to 12, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But that's what I chose. It's not the fact I couldn't have made it. Is I never chose to do it. And that's a lot of people's options. Like they never chose to be in the streets. Some people, they chose that based off of situations. And they chose that life. Some people didn't. And that's the fact of the matter of what a way of life. Not everybody wanted to be in the streets. And I ain't gonna say even the streets niggas didn't want to be in the streets is based off of circumstances. And I'll say put it like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you can't make a statement like that and expect that.
Yeah, because she being sarcastic about it. You know, she looking like, oh, you lame because you got a 9 to 5, basically. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because and there is a sect of culture that believes that to be true. Like, oh, you ain't really with the motion or whatever because you clock in every day. You ain't out here risking your life doing this, doing that, whatever. And to be honest, I'm like,
well,
back in the day, let me put it like this. Back in the day when I was young and I was dumb and I was running around pretending to be a gangbanger, I remember hearing this all the time, like, you lucky if you make it to 25. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if you make it to 25 and you still in the streets, you know what I'm saying, that means something, because most young niggas who jump out in the street, definitely young, if you really running that street life, you risking life, limb, and freedom. You get what I'm saying? Because not only, you may be a jack boy, or you may be a dope boy, or you may just be a gangbanger. You know what I'm saying? Which entails all of that.
Yeah.
You could just be a normal petty criminal. You know what I'm saying? But you out there. So you running risk of beefing with other people. You know what I'm saying? Some of these people out here are serious. You know what I'm saying? So they don't mind. They don't care about taking a life. And they don't care about going to jail. You risking dealing with drugs and overdoses and stuff like that. You risk, to me, and the most important part, your freedom. You risking going to jail. See, when I was young, there was a part of my brain that didn't care. I was mad at the world. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't feel like the world cared about me, so I didn't care. So I was running. You know what I'm saying? And I can only speak from my point of view when I was running around in the streets, because I had me a good 10-year stint of being a dumbass. That's what I'm gonna call it, because there ain't no point of glorifying it.
Yeah.
There's too many young brothers dying every day just because they trying to keep up an image. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to look a certain way. And them same young brothers is talented individuals that, like, I know guys here that I grew up with, mental insane when it come to numbers, but they using it for selling drugs when they could also be using that when it go to college and become something with that.
They become a financial advisor and all that.
The streets is like inverse of like the thing, like going like, oh man, it is. And there's so many reasons why, like back to what you were saying, is like so many dudes, they get into the streets and they're in the streets. Like a guy here in West Texas ain't the same as a guy over in, let's say, like the slums of Chicago. Where you live in the worst conditions, Section 8. You've been there. Your daddy been in jail your whole life. Your big cousin got killed. You are just submerged in it. So you almost feel like you have no other route. Your homeboy got shot up the other day. He in the hospital. You broke. Your mama complaining because she, her job, working her double hours, and she ain't never home. And but y'all need food. So you make a decision. You be like, man, I'm hitting the streets. I know my big homeboy over here, he got the plug on this, that, and the third. Or my big homeboy over here, he got scams going and this, that, and the third. And the next thing you know, you're in it's so easy to get ensnared in it, is what I'm getting at, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. But a lot of guys who are in it, and definitely after seeing family died, friends died, friends go to jail, getting years. The struggles with the cops, the never being able to feel legit and legal or whatever. There's a point where you be like, ah, man. And yeah, if any old head that's been through all that, they tell you, man, I don't want to be here. I'm trying to make enough money to start a record label. Mm-hmm. Or maybe like, man, I want enough money where I can own a legit business. Maybe I always felt like I like construction, so I want to own a construction company. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, man, you know.
See, that's like an ignorant statement because that would be like us saying a girl that works a 9 to 5 couldn't cut out to be a stripper.
Yeah, why ain't you a stripper? Yeah,
you know what I mean, it's like at the end of the day, saying to me is like saying something like that. And somebody that can't make it in the streets is like, what does that really do for you? Like, if your guy is in the streets, you should have been worried about risking his life every day. Like, is he gonna come home? Mm-hmm. That's more of a worry on you, not only as a partner, as a parent. You know what I mean? As a brother or sister, like that's more of a worry because you know that individual's in the streets. You don't know if you don't want to get that call that he's either got shot, he's killed, going to jail. Like there's a whole bunch of dynamics that go inside of that, and sometimes I feel like, especially like in this nuance of things, is people value money so much that yes, a street hustler is making more than a 9 to 5 guy because of what he's doing. You feel me? But what is that value happens when he's not there no more? The buck stops.
You know what? With that statement, because 50 Cent had this thing. I don't know it quote by quote, so I won't try to even butcher it. But basically, he breaks down the effort you're putting into the streets compared to the money you're making and this and that, and it turns out you're really making minimum wage. And he's like, if 50 Cent is smart man, like he didn't come from the streets and make it to where he's at off of nothing. That man got a thought process, right? And I think it's important. But he basically was like, yeah, it's the same thing. You ain't really doing nothing. Think about all the time you spend in jail for getting caught with this and that, and then you get out and this and that. Yeah, you may have been able to run up 10 racks, but how long are you gonna hold on to that 10 racks?
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? You made 100,000, but how long you gonna have that 100,000 compared to the guy, you know, who clocking in every day, blah blah blah. You know, there's a different dynamic to it all. You know, but for real, I think it's a mind virus that has invaded because it is glorified in some level. And I'm not going to belittle anybody who's out in the streets and that's a choice you made.
As I said,
you know what I'm saying? Definitely if you feel like you got no other options. You know, there's enough of this world. Me with a 9 to 5, I feel day to day cornered and backed into corners and feel like I don't got no other options. Yeah, for a street guy, like you know what, you were born in a situation where you felt like you already had no other options.
Yeah.
So you just went the route that was open to you. But to belittle hardworking men, definitely hardworking black men, is insane. Like why? Why is it that we do that to ourselves? And that's the question that I just don't understand is. I don't get why we do that to ourselves. Because I'll respect you if you go. I'll respect you. Do what you got to do. You willing to take your L, and you willing to go down the road. I got brothers that are doing time in prison cells. I got brothers that are doing time in the feds. You know, they chose their choice. But when they call me and they talk to me, they just glad to hear that I'm still doing good. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad to hear they doing good too.
Yeah.
And the only thing they ever talk to me about is, man, I want to get out and get this right, man. I got kids out here. I got family out here that want to see me do good. Yeah, man.
It's the effect. Because at the end of the day, your choices that you make, you don't know who it affects later. You feel me? And if you have kids out here, it affects them because you're not there for a certain period of time. It doesn't matter if you come and tell me you're not there for, if it's a year or whatever, 2 years. That's still 2 years out of that kid's life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That they're not going to be able to see you but behind the cell or when they have to come through visitations. Like, that shouldn't have been a situation. And like we said, I ain't downplaying nobody that does it because you had your choices. You made your choices. You feel me? But at the end of the day, like they say, you make your bed, you got to lay in it. Whatever happens after that, you know what it is. You feel me? It's not something that we never heard. Even for a guy that's never been in the streets, we always heard it. The streets only bring certain things. You feel me? It's either getting buried or going to jail, and that's real shit. And you lucky when you actually get out of it. You actually lucky when you actually say like, you know what, this ain't it. I've came to that point. I've dodged death. I've dodged going to jail. You know what? I feel like
I'm not a statistic.
It's time for me to change.
Yeah.
This ain't for me no more. It was at some point, but you know what? I'm not there. Mentally, I'm not there. During my moments, I was here, but you know what? I got guided to the point where I dodged all these things. I shouldn't push it no more. I'm out of it.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And that's why I always say those that get out of it is luck, and whatever the case may be, y'all got there. And by choice, y'all stirred the path with the fact that, I don't want to go back. But when you do, if you don't bear that choice and you decide to go down and you know what I mean, either choice come up, is the people that's you could say like your little village or your community or whatever is what gets affected the most, because like I said, your children get affected when you're not there. Then you don't know what that brings on to them mentally when you're not there, because at the end of the day, by circumstances, if something happens to you and all you know is oppositions is the one that do it, sometimes that go into their mental like, oh, you're the reason why my dad is not here, or you're the reason that my mom is not here. And then that continues a cycle where the fact that they feel they have to do that to avenge you, or because you was who you are, I gotta go and do this because my pops was doing this or my mom was doing this, so this is why I'm following their footsteps, instead of this is what that led them to. I feel like to make them happy, I shouldn't be here. You know what I mean?
This person live over here on this side of town, and I live on this side of town. His uncle killed my uncle back in the day. My daddy carried the beef. His daddy carried the beef. Now it's my turn. You know what I'm saying? So me and his son gonna have problems. We don't even know each other. When you could really end up, you never know. Which. Again, I ain't gonna sit here and act like I know street politics like that. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in West Texas, and our politics was different. You know what I'm saying? We ain't grew up in no big city. We had our smoke. We had our smoke. You know what I'm saying? We did our dumb shit. And so like I'm saying, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know politics. But the brother that you beefing with definitely could be that. You never know. Just because y'all live on two opposite sides of town and y'all got beef, generational beef, his mentality could be the mentality that keeps you from being y'all putting y'all's mind together. Never knew it could have a Fortune 500 company.
Yeah, it could have changed the whole game.
Yeah, could have had a thriving business. You know what I'm saying?
Break that whole cycle that your family was beefing over something that happened years ago.
And still, even could, like if y'all were in the situations like that, you could end up still being able to stop. If you join forces and be like, hey man, this life, my dad, y'all both sharing the same trauma. You know what I'm saying? In different forms, but y'all sharing the same trauma, and you can teach that to younger folks. Man, this is why you don't want to do this. You know what I'm saying? I respect men who go to work, get up every day.
Yeah.
And the reason why I do is because I know it's rough.
Shit.
You know how hard it is to get up every day to clock in at a place you don't own, but you go hard as you can for your family. You put in 12, 13, 14 hours to bring home the bacon for your family. You making the decisions you can to make sure your kids grow up the right way. Mm-hmm. You're doing the thing because you know how easy it is just as a man to be like, I don't want to do none of this. Let's be real. Sometimes as a man, you be like, man, I sit there and think about it. I'd be like, damn, if I was single, how much money I have, how much motion I be moving with, you know what I'm saying? Like if I was a single man, but it's respectful. It's so much respect on a man who can throw down and dash all that other stuff.
That pride that he has.
Yeah, and pick up the banner for his family and lead them. That's a man to me. You know what I'm saying? Because a man, we want to see men as tough individuals. Yes, a man should be able to provide, protect, and all this stuff. But a man also needs to be loving and nurturing and all those things. A well-rounded man is all those things. You know what I'm saying? It's never just one thing or the other, man. To be a man, because on some level I feel like that's what that statement is saying. You ain't no real man. You got a 9 to 5. I guess if that's how in your worldview you see things, because like everybody's point of view is different, I guess. But to me, a real man sacrifices a lot. A real man is willing to go to the mat for his. A real man is willing to put his things aside to make sure his family is good, and then be able to go back and pick his things up and carry on. You know what I'm saying?
But that's why I also said, that's why I said what I said, is the fact of the mentality of people, is the fact of we see, when you see or you feel like you live the lifestyle, when you see certain amount of money come in from specific individuals, and this is not just, we ain't even going to talk about just the streets. We're going to talk about even in this community that's podcasted, in the community of online or whatever. When you see 50 racks on a normal, 60 racks on a normal, and then you go to somebody that's don't make that on an average, you know what I mean? You start questioning, like, as individuals, you start putting the value of a person based off of his pockets, not based off of the value of who he is. You feel me? Because not everybody is going to be there. Yeah, they can make 50, 60, 70 within a year, but that don't mean they're going to make 50, 60, 70 within a month, 2 months, because I'm not saying there's people out here that's making that. Yeah. You feel me? But you can't put somebody's value of a man just based off of his pockets. Because the bitches of niggas could be making top dollar. That don't mean he really has value within himself or within you.
Yeah.
Because he could sit up there and just go like, yo, you saying something? Yeah, just take this. Yeah. Go ahead. Or not loyal, don't even take care of his kids, because he could go look at this where his kids have a problem. He just shelling out money just to deal. That's not really a man situation. You're not sacrificing nothing. You're not sitting up there being humble for who you are and really putting that banner on your back as a man and go like, this is my family. I want to make sure that we good. We're going to, no matter what I'm making, we're going to stand strong, and we're going to be here. I'm going to be here for my daughter when she goes to these concerts and when she's performing. I'm going to make sure when she's tearing up, she could lean on me. I'm going to be here for my son to realize like, yo, don't worry about this. You haven't reached this echelon yet, but I'm here for you. I'm going to teach you. You know what I mean? I'm going to guide you on this path. You feel me? Where you could go through the banter with your wife, good and bad days. You feel me? Arguments over whatever it is. You're there in person. You feel me? It's not just shelling out like, here, this going to solve your problem. The money going to solve it. And that's why I feel like a lot of people is that they value people based off of their pockets and not who they really are. Yeah. And that's why some reading that 9 to 5 is like, that's why I feel like you're coming at, in a sense of you're valuing the street nigga based off of his pockets and not who he really is.
Yeah, and the lifestyle.
And right? The lifestyle.
Because I ain't going to lie to you. The lifestyle is, it's a wild one. You feel like when I was young and I was running the streets, there's a certain air around it. You out late, you rolling with the boys, y'all living on the edge. You got you ducking the law. You feel like an outlaw.
Yeah.
You feel like oh man. I remember there's days where I sit back and I'm like, man, I had some good times. Like posted up late with the boy, we on the block, you know what I'm saying, music playing, bud going around, we laughing, we joking.
You in the moment.
You in the moment you living. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so I can see why, because I can see where you can get there, right? Because when I was selling drugs, I never wanted a job. I was like, man, I'm making money. You know what I'm saying? I'm making money. But then at the same time, I'm also looking over my shoulder. I'm driving around the city with stuff in my pants that could give me 15, 20 years. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing things with my homeboys that if we get caught with this shit, we going down the road. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or we beefing with these dudes and they willing to take it as far as we taking it and we ain't stopping. So where is it end at? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, and then, but the being tough and all that, yeah, definitely as a young man, it feels good because you feel like you got power. And that's what it's about. It's really about power. Women love a powerful man. And for a lot of people, that looks like money. And for some people, seeing a guy with a 9 to 5, that looks like you gave up. You know what I'm saying? Which, in my perspective, the strongest men I've ever seen have been the men who worked their butts off.
Yeah.
Like the ones who sacrifice everything to push their family forward. The ones who are carrying their whole family on their backs. Those are strong men. Those are powerful men. like my grandpa, I remember being young and realizing like, you know, people respect that man, and not because he doing anything, because he stands on what he believes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And as a kid, you know, my grandpa was really tall, right? Really tall dude. Like, I'm little. This man's like 6'3", 6'4", or something like that. So he already looked big.
He is a giant in your
And
eyes
then you
already.
hear the stories about him, and then you hear from my pops telling stories, my grandma, and all these stories, and then just the amount of people that would come, you would see come to show up to his house just to talk to him, the way people treated him at church, the way people treated him in the community. And when he died, the amount of people that were
masses that came out
that were there.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, man, that's the type of man, you know, I see as powerful. A man that not when you walk into a person's life, you leave something there. You know what I'm saying? And where you didn't just go in and take, you left something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You left something there, and something that they always gonna remember you for, and they gonna love you for. They got, because I'm pretty sure there's people he had issues with. I'm pretty sure there was disagreements all through. I'm a kid. I don't know what's going on in that man's life. But at the end of the day, all the amount of respect and love that he fostered towards not only him, but my family, because of his works, what he did with his hands.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? That's, to me, that's a man, you know, and maybe the difference is not all of us get to grow up with somebody like that in our lives. Some of us only see men in the streets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My daddy was a dope dealer. He made sure we had food and clothes. We was fresh. My daddy was a dope dealer. We had J's. So yeah, what do you think? Yeah, we never went hungry.
Yeah.
My daddy ended up in the feds, you know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. He took care of us. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I say I don't ever want nobody to, I won't ever get on here and disrespect, because there is real men in the streets.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody got their situation, and everybody got their path. And I'm gonna put it like that. Everybody got a path that they follow. You feel me? But I would never downgrade neither side. That's one thing. I would never downgrade either side, because at the end of the day, what I gone through, what I've been through in life, doesn't mean what he's gonna go through in life. What path he walked down, I didn't have to walk down that same path. You feel me? At the end of the day, that's why I'll never downplay it. I just feel like y'all shouldn't do the same either. Don't look at one as better than the next, or don't look at one as somebody gave up, because, like we said, we all had choices. It's up to us to make them choices.
Yeah, facts.
And that's the real shit about it.
I think, to me, what it really is, and I think where my mind goes with it, is like these youngsters are on another level, and they look at the world different. Mm-hmm. And I don't understand that thought process. I'm not going to sit here and say that I do, because like I said, I grew up with at least old heads. They was like, man, get out. What you doing here? What you doing here, little Archie? Man, get out of here, bro. You don't need to be here. You go on, get out of here. You know, I grew up with stuff like that, but it feels like nowadays there isn't that. And like, that's why I've been thinking about like, for real, community. Like, what happened to community? You know what I'm saying? You used to go up the street, even if you, when I was a young little dumb motherfucker, it didn't matter where I go. Somebody knew me. They knew my grandparents. They knew my daddy. They knew my mama. They knew my mama's mama. They knew my sisters. You know what I'm saying? They knew my aunties.
They knew you. They know the family.
I know who you are. And I can call your granddaddy right now and tell him what you doing over here, boy. You know what I'm saying? It kind of made you feel like, you know what? You know, family names was important back in the day. Community fell apart, bro.
It's a long time ago, bro.
And I was telling me and my girl were kind of conversating about this, because I've been thinking about this for a week or so now. And it feels like we've given up community for our social media. You know what I'm saying? Nobody really, and because even with the street shit, right? You know what I'm saying? You don't got, you got like the youngins outside, right? But us older folks, we inside, we trying to figure out our stuff, right? But where it all converges, where you see, oh, my little cousin that went to jail. You see it on social media.
Yeah, that's the first.
You don't get a call from your aunt like, hey, man, you know what I'm saying? You see, oh, free my boy, blah, blah, blah. Or, you know, all the talks and topics, the town square done been moved to online. You know what I'm saying? There ain't no real community growth. Like back in the day, you know, you could go up to a like Martin Luther King Center, and there'll be somebody there trying to, you know, hey man, read this book. You know what I'm saying? Or hey man, you know, this is that we doing a community service over here, man. You want to come over here help out? Or you go to school and your coach actually trying to guide you. You know what I'm saying? Or you know, you got the church community. You go to church, your people at the church know you, but you somebody always there trying to give you a little wisdom. You know, it don't feel like that. I don't know. You know, I'm not a youngin' no more, and I ain't outside, so I'm just really speaking off what I kind of see. Cause you don't even see kids outside playing no more. Not like that.
Yeah, it's like you don't know who's in the neighborhood no more.
Yeah, you don't know your neighbor.
You don't know your neighbors no more.
But you in your neighbor business on Facebook. Y'all in some group chat. Y'all in some group page. Midlands, whatever. And now you know. Oh, my neighbors.
You know what your neighbor doing, but you don't know your neighbor's name is crazy.
Yeah, because back in the day, you gotta growing up in certain neighborhoods. I remember being young, and we grew up in Oak Cliff. We lived in this project, but my mama would be outside, and she knew people. We played with their kids. You know what I'm saying? When everybody was outside having a function. Everybody was outside having a function.
Yeah.
All the kids in the little they was outside. You know what I'm saying?
Do they even do street fairs like the street block parties like that no more?
Nah, bro. I ain't seen one in forever.
I've been wondering that if they ever do block parties.
I go down my old block that I grew up in here in Midland, and same back when I was coming up. They old heads now, but they wasn't back then. They would be outside. Everybody be, you know what I'm saying? Somebody barbecuing. You see some people walking down the street. What's up? Hey, what's up, bro? Man, how your mama doing? You know what I'm saying? That street is empty.
New faces.
Empty. There ain't nobody walking
outside.
up the street no more. The unks ain't out working on their trucks in their garage. You know, nothing like that. You know what I'm saying?
And when it died, it's like I don't know how to put it, but it's like at some point we went from, like we said earlier, knowing your neighbors to now your neighbors are strangers. Because like even for us, like where I grew up in New York in Canarsie, we all knew each other. You know what I mean? You see the kids outside, water fights, you know what I mean, riding bikes up and down the block, you playing kickball, football in the street, waiting until that car come up, everybody shouting, car! Yeah. And you run to the side and let that car pass, and then you come back and you playing back in the middle of the street, playing football and all type of shit. Like we said on the other one, when the fact of the matter is, even when Naruto came out, everybody gathered around just to watch this one freaking show for 30 minutes and just discuss it and chill out. It's not like that no more. It's like we gave a lot of things to social media where everybody knows everybody's business in social media. And it feels like we went from talking to the like if your mother and your neighbor was friends or whatever and they see you doing wrong, of course they would talk to you about it first, and like, I'm gonna tell your mama knows. Now it's more on a scale where it went away from that to the point where they see him, you see that little Archie over there? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know his dad. And it's like they whisper. Don't say nothing. They just whisper and watch it. And then if anything goes bad, I knew that little boy was going to get in trouble. I knew it when you could have said something to him. Yes, when you could have talked. But then also the respect value went down from the youngest to the older generation. Because now it's like we came to a point where it's like a lot of that respect thing there is not. It's like where we used to grow up, where the fact of the matter is, and of course we teach it with our kids, like, yo, you always got to respect your adults. You feel me? At the end of the day, at some point it came to a head where adults and kids wanted to be more friends than actually be parent and daughter, father, and you know what I mean. And it came to a point where they wanted to be on the same level. So now kids are in adult businesses. Kids know more than anything that they need to know. They talking to parents like they talking to their homegirl or their homeboy. So it's like now where you come down to it, the respect thing there is no level to this, where the fact that, we could talk, but you got to always remember, I am your father, I am your mother. Like, yo, you can't be just saying certain things out your mouth and you think it's okay. I'm not your homeboy or homegirl that you talk to in school. We're not there. So when that happens now, that shows, and then that pivots from what happens inside the house, goes outside the house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now when people used to be able to talk to your kids and say something, certain kids will look at that person like, I don't know who you talking to, like you can't talk to me no way. And then parents is beefing because now you talking just trying to advise the little one to like, hey man, you couldn't be doing this. Now parents is getting an uproar. You can't be talking to my kid like that. And it's the same thing with like in schools. I used to see that all the time. I used to go like, yo, teachers and I remember growing up, teachers and parents used to be on the same level. If I get in trouble, until I really could prove myself, it's like in court. Until you prove yourself innocent, your mother believing what the teacher say. Yeah, you know, AJ over here, he talked too much in class, and this is why he ain't bringing it. And then your mama look, oh, this what you doing?
Yeah,
this what you do. Don't worry, miss, I got him. He gonna come correct. Now it turns into a point where, yeah, you know your son doing this or your daughter doing this. That ain't my kid. I don't know what you talking about. This you got it wrong, and you looking at it like, yo, where is it? Like we just lost that whole threshold where it just came into a divide.
And I feel like if we want to bring community back, because I was gonna say make that same point. It's because kids don't got respect, but they don't got respect starting in their home. You know what I'm saying? It starts in the home because, like you said, man, it's everybody want to be friends. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's sitting there putting real. And I don't want to talk down on anybody's parenting. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, there is a difference, man. Because growing up, there was a kids table. There was no. You couldn't even go to the dominoes table where the grown folks was playing dominoes and stand around too long. They'll look at you like, boy. What you doing over here? You sweating the game, man. What you got going, man? Go on, move somewhere. You know what I'm saying? But you go find your cousins over there, go play with them. Like, why are you over here? You know what I'm saying? Go figure it out, right? But the community and even just families is
changes.
Is devolved, and I think it's a social thing nowadays. Everybody's out for themselves. It don't matter if it's your neighbor up the street. That's the reason why they don't want to know you. They got I got my own shit going on. You know what I'm saying? I may see your kids walking up the street. I may see your kids throwing a fucking rock but I ain't got at somebody's window. But I ain't got what they got to do with me.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? In the family, like, oh well, you know, everybody in most families nowadays seem to be like, oh yeah, you'll get together for one thing and then you don't talk to each other for a while.
Wow, you don't see them.
You don't see them. They don't call you no more.
Visitors. Yeah. Nobody's saying anything to you.
And it's few and far between, you know, and you know, like. And
you know what's so crazy about that is when that happens and then they see you doing stuff and they come and post up. Why? Where was my invite at? Why couldn't? But we haven't talked in 2 years.
Yeah, and for real,
it's like, yo, we haven't talked in 2 years. Like you reach out and you don't respond back, and then all of a sudden you see me enjoying something, or we have a get together, and then you not there. They wonder why you're not there. If you discommunicate yourself, like what do you want me to do about it?
Yeah, because back in the day, man, families were families, man.
Facts.
Like your cousins would come down and see you. Even if they lived out of town, you know, to come down and see you, it'd be random. You know, you hang out, you know, everything. But your family stuck together. Now there whole parts of families that just don't even talk to each other, and they don't want nothing to do with each other. This, that, and the third, and that's a bigger conversation. But back in the day, it felt like you were growing up in a family, not just around family. You get what I'm saying? Like that old, like I wrote on the board, it takes a village. Because I couldn't go over in my auntie neighborhood and act a fool, because not only was she getting on my ass, she was calling my grandparents, she was calling my mama, she was hey man, this little nigga over here acting a fool, I had to go snatch him up. Yeah, come get him. You know what I'm saying? I got him. Yeah, come. He's sitting on my couch right now. Come get his ass. You know, but
they get snatched up 3-4 times after for that.
Yeah,
bro.
You know what I'm saying. And then you catch a licking going from your auntie had to your daddy get a hold of you. Everybody you getting. Yeah, then you sit your ass in your room. You know what I'm saying? Shit. Yeah, think about what you just did. You know, you couldn't do something. You couldn't. Everybody. But you're right. Now, your kids. People don't. I have this theory, man. Everybody's just afraid of messing their kids up when it comes down to raising their kids. So then you get very protective, because now you're like, oh, am I fucking up? Am I messing up? And then you see somebody say something to your kid and you're like, whoa. Whoa. Now you feel shitty. The anxiety done boiled up in you. Now you mad at another person. Let's say even like you two sisters. One sister see your kid doing something wrong, and then other sister, hey man, hey no, I got this. Like but the kid won't learn in the way I see it. Don't see like, oh, around any adult, I have to honestly have this respect. And I have to worry about, hey, I can't get away with this. Because if I see my mama check this and that and the third, then that means, why do I got to listen to you? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
And you see, and that's where the whole worrying things of what people don't understand. You're still messing up your kids that way at the end of the day. Because without the discipline that comes from the household, without that discipline of showing respect, how to be respectful out here, no matter if we in the house and we have our key moments with our kids, which we all supposed to have. We're supposed to have that key moments where we could sit up there and enjoy it, where we could, if it's pranking on each other, cracking jokes or whatever. But it's also have to have that boundary where the fact that, all right, cool, I'm not there. You need to understand when we joking and when we taking things serious. If you sit down there and kiki 100% of the time and don't take things serious, what happens now is that kid grows up and start thinking that everybody is not serious. Mm-hmm. No matter if somebody's shouting, no matter if somebody's being strict, no matter if somebody's telling them stern, how you expect somebody to go forward when the fact of the matter is, and that's not even just as an adult, even with individuals, when a friend is being serious, they won't be able to take that person serious because at the end of the day, they're going to think that that person is just, he ain't really.
Rage
baiting. And they start doing this meme situation where everything is like that, where nothing is serious to them. You feel me? And that's where things get problematic because in the workforce, that's when people start looking at you like, oh, you can't, oh, really? This is, all right, cool, here's what. Take tomorrow off. Mm-hmm. No, take next week off.
Yeah.
That next week turn into a, hey, come sign this paper for me, please.
Yeah.
You're terminated. What for what? Because you didn't want to follow rules. You feel that everything is such and such. And that's where you have to find your balance in that. You feel me? I'm not coming at anybody that's sitting up here and how you parent, but you also got to find a boundary between when it's time to joke and play and when it's time to be serious. And that's the truth of the matter, because at the end of the day, we always worried about, and this is things that I've learned. We used to get licks, you know what I mean? We used to get is consequences to your actions. Like we used to say, you pow your kids and say, hey, don't touch that. Then, of course, we got introduced to belts and whatever. Cool. But to me, personally, it made us stronger because we understand, like, yo, we can't do this. You know what I mean? This will land me here. This will cause this consequences. So you have a learning curve. You feel me? It's not abuse. There's a difference between abuse. I always like there's a difference between abuse and just getting disciplined. Because discipline could be, that's it. Like, yo, don't do that. You should not touch that. That is hot. That is, like, don't do that. Versus somebody knocking your lights out, that's abuse. Where you get beat up. That's
teeth.
That's different. Yeah. You feel me? And that's not what I'm talking about. That's abuse. What I'm talking about is just the discipline factor. Disciplining your kids for doing wrong and actually teaching them. You know what I mean? Like, yo, this is why this was wrong. You feel me? This is why you should not do this, because this is what's going to land you. This is what's going to happen if you've done this. You showing them and guiding them the right path, because at the end of the day, that's what the respect value is. You don't have to spank. If you don't believe in spankings, you don't have to spank your kids, but you also should discipline them in a way of taking things away, timeouts, doing what you got to do, but making sure you stand firm on that and don't go doing the coddle. Oh, come here. No, don't do that.
Yeah, that's that stuff right there. Because then, let's say in a dynamic where one parent is the disciplinarian and then the other parent is just the the coddler. You know, the what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway,
the coddler.
Yeah, the dynamic gets destroyed between, because now instead I know, such a dad's mean to me because he won't let me do this, but then you run to mom and mom holds on to you, and now you feel like, oh well, I just won't go to dad. I know mom's gonna
do it,
and that teaches kids in a certain way that you don't want them to be taught. And it's important, because it's important to raise you. If you're gonna have kids with people, it's important to have a good
dynamic
between the parents too. You got to have an understanding, right? But and that's, I think the nuclear family And the way it all starts, it all resonates back to kind of like where we're at right now. There's just so much going on in the world when it comes down to just the way we move and operate, and the way there is no community, there is none of that. Because it's all torn apart. It's all torn apart. Everybody's struggling, looking out for themselves, out in the world, looking out for themselves inside their homes, looking out for themselves in every which way possible. The world's got super selfish, and that's all we're teaching our kids, right? We're teaching our kids how to be selfish, not to care about the man up the street. Man, back in the day, you see an old lady with some groceries. I remember, even though me and my boys, we would be out in the streets, we'd be like, "Hey, miss, you need us to help you? Well, we see you got a bunch. Oh yeah, baby, come on." Mm-hmm. You know, and she'd try to give you $5. Nah, we good. Thank you, man. Mm-hmm. We just want to help you. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not out in the streets. I don't know if that happens. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that happens, but I definitely don't see it.
Yeah, that's facts.
When I'm riding around, I don't see groups of kids helping old people. I don't see groups of kids. Hey, can we mow your lawn, Mr. Johnson? You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm just trying to make some quick summer money. Yeah, but there's two things there, man. First off, you got a kid who's trying to do things, and then not only that, Mr. Johnson knows, hey, this is a good kid.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Johnson can vouch for that kid.
I can vouch for that kid. Whenever the cops come through this street and they just picking on kids, no. That's little Terry's son from up the street. He a good boy. Mm-hmm. I know him. He washed my car. You know what I'm saying? But we don't got that no more. You know what I'm saying?
It's not the same dynamic, bro.
You just drive by. Little kid, something happened. The kids got them sitting. Cops got them sitting on it. You don't even know the faces. You don't even know if they grew up in if they your neighbor's kids. You don't even know.
You don't know.
You know what I'm saying? And then, like you said, man, I think it's vital that we start going back to thought processes where being outside. And if y'all go back and listen to any of these podcasts, you'll see that I keep talking about this AI stuff and the way we're going in life. We're getting to a point where none of this means nothing. None of it means anything because you can get everything you want off of your phone.
Yeah.
You can get everything you want. You don't even need real music no more. So what makes you think you're going to value or respect another human being? You know what I'm saying? Getting to the point where we look at each other like humans again and having respect for each other. Because, I know for a fact that it is vitally important to me that whatever community I live in, I want to know the people who live there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? One thing about this community I live in now, the kids don't mind. The kids ding dong ditch. The neighbor come over, hey buddy, I got a lawnmower in service. Yeah, you mind if I hit your lawn? I'm trying to make some extra money. It's Christmas. You know, there's enough of that going on. Or hey man, I'm a young dude, came to the door the other day, man. I'm trying to make a little extra money, man. You got something I can do around your house? And I was sitting there thinking, well, damn. The only thing is, I ain't got no money right now. But yeah, I would have easily hey man, yeah, I got a bunch of stuff in my garage that I actually need thrown out. If you don't mind, you do that, I'll give you $20. You know what I'm saying? Easy. You know what I'm saying? But I love a neighborhood like that, and I would love to keep pushing that. And I think it's important that that thought process keeps going because at the end of the day, man, without each other, we are nothing.
That's facts.
And no, you can't. There's a reason why they throw you in solitary and when you go to jail. They take away your community. You know what I'm saying? They put you in a box by yourself. Yeah. And we're doing that to ourselves. We are castrating ourselves from community with technology. Because sooner or later, we're all just going to be locked into our houses with a VR headset on and a fake girlfriend and fake music and just fake love and fake TV shows.
On an online community that ain't real.
Processed food getting shoved down our throats. You know, the only community you got is some group chat that you're in on Discord. You know what I'm saying? Never met a single soul of them people. You know, you don't even know if it's a chat bot.
Yeah.
You know, but anyway.
Facts.
I just feel like community is important, man.
It is.
Yeah,
because it helps build. It helps build your dynamic with people. It actually brings back your social skills because you know how to navigate through this world, how to talk to people, how to show respect, how to walk down that path, and and I always say that when you make guidelines, people will follow the same guidelines with you. They won't try to manipulate. Well, people will try, but once you know how you raise your kids and the upbringing and your core family members understand the dynamic that you're doing, people outside cannot deteriorate that. You feel me? People can't come in and manipulate situations because they understand. Your kids will always understand. Like, yo, I wasn't brought up this way, and I'm not gonna do these things. I'm not gonna follow your things. Or even when you say certain things, like, I'll get back at you. You know what I mean? They will know how to walk that path and how to make better judgments. When you don't know how to do that with people, you just gonna believe certain. It brings in other things. You know what I mean? That's all I'm gonna say. It just brings in other dynamics.
And my biggest statement about all this is right. We didn't kind of hit across the board in scattered ways, but really what hits me is like, man, the family dynamic of it all, the family community. Because it does take a village to raise a kid. You need to be with your grandparents. You need to spend time with your grandparents' house and see how they act and hear the stories from your grandma. You need to hear your grandpa's old stories about when he was in high school, and stuff like that. And you need those wisdoms and that guidance. You need time with your aunts and your uncles. You need time like that. You need time with your cousins. You need all that stuff. Man, because back in the day, man, we get dropped off at my grandparents' house and we'd just be there. You know what I'm saying? We'd just be there.
Yeah.
And we would be outside. We had friends in the neighborhood. My grandpa could call the man across the street whenever he wasn't home and be like, watch my house. Keep an eye on it. Make sure if you see something, give me a call. Or at least come over here when I get back.
Yeah.
And let me know what you seen. You could, you know what I'm saying? And to be a part of a community, I think also damps down on the earlier topic. Man, because then there's different walks of life. There's different things. And then you got multiple people in your life just telling you they want to see you do better. You done heard the stories.
You get better guidance from everybody else within that. You feel me?
And if you choose to go to the streets, at least you got that voice in the back of your head.
But it's also about that too, is the fact that, man, you learn how to respect your area too. Yeah. Like and that's one thing. Like when you bring that, even if you part of that, even if like it goes back to our earlier topic, even if you part of that, you also that respect value is higher because at the end of the day, with your community, you go like, oh nah, if something that's supposed to happen with certain individuals, like no, we ain't gonna do that.
Yeah,
they over there is untouchable. Nah, I know her. She's cool. My grandmother, and we go to church and so it's like that value gets bring more for individuals, whereas that respect value is brought way more compared to anything else. You know what I mean? Look, and then you start looking at things different after that. Facts. You know what I mean?
We would go to be. This is bad, but we weren't stealing from our neighborhoods. We would go to the neighborhoods. We didn't know the people. That's where we was popping cars and stealing cars and doing all that.
A whole different community.
Yeah, because we like, we know what Miss Johnson got going on up the street. Yeah, well, I see what she got going on. I know Miss Betty from church. You know what I'm saying? My grandpa go to the barbershop with Mr. Johnson over here. You know what I'm saying? I know these people. These are my people. These are the people that I know got my back.
Yeah.
I done met, matter of fact, Mrs. Dale over there and brought us food over last Thanksgiving, or whenever my cousin died or something, they brought some food over here. Why would I hurt my own people? Yeah. Yep. So when you have a community, you know what I'm saying. But then at the same time, you have more people to keep you accountable.
That's a fact.
So when you are acting a fool. Or when you are crashing out, it's not just no man. Hey, look, what you doing out here, boy? You out here causing all that ruckus. You know what? There's good, hardworking people. Blah, 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 blah. You make sure you remember that. You start having respect. You start having respect for different thought processes too. Because you really start understanding that not everybody's going through the same thing you're going through. A community is important because then you're not just focused on yourself.
That's a fact. You see everybody else that's around you. Yeah. That is a fact, my boy.
Well, we took our big heavy topics and put them up front.
You know what I mean?
Which, you know what? Let's transition into communities, the hip hop community. Cause
there's been some uproars in that one.
Yeah,
something light.
Well, let's instead of saying hip hop, wrestling community. Ooh. I think this kind of that's what we're kind of going through it. Like most people who listen to hip hop and watch wrestling, they probably talking about this.
Yeah, the whole West Side Gun versus WWE situation.
Yeah.
So if y'all didn't know, pretty much here, I guess is when WWE was in Buffalo. I'm just put it like that. I don't know the actual date, but it's recent. West Side Gun got kicked out of the arena. He paid pretty much $5,000 for accommodations for his seating. He was front row seating and whatever. He got kicked out of WWE. Took pretty much 3 minutes into the whole situation, into the show going live on whatever. And of course, West Side Gun, as anybody would, felt disrespected, felt like, yo, pretty much I've been supporting y'all from since I was a kid. You know what I mean? I've been your number one fan for everything. Like I've been at damn near all the shows once I can. I'll be at all the shows. I'm one of your biggest supporters. And even says that, you know, I made WWE cool again when people wasn't watching wrestling, and pretty much reference a lot of lyrics within his songs as references to WWE.
Yeah, he got a whole series of tapes called
Heels
Have Eyes.
Heels Have Eyes.
Yeah. Which is a reference to
Yeah,
you know.
So with this whole situation happening, I did my little research on it, which to me, I'm gonna put like this. I understand where West Side Gun come from, because at the end of the day, if you support something as bad as you do, especially a big corporation that you follow from since a kid and you support it, it will hurt. It stings and it hurts when the fact of the matter is they do something like that to you, kick you out of the arena. Literally speaking, after I spend so much money here and supporting y'all, and kick you out the arena, like, is like, what the hell?
Yeah, they hit him with a lawsuit, didn't they?
Yeah. So there's things that I've learned. I didn't know until listening to JPP that the fact of the matter is he has his own wrestling league. Mm-hmm. If anybody knows the history of WWE or any wrestling league, once you become competition, it's pretty much like a all gloves off situation unless we have a deal with each other, which I don't know if there was a deal ever mentioned, because his wrestling league is Fourth Row. So I don't know if there was ever hey, can we work together? Can you be the indie to the fact that you could train up guys here and we process them into NXT and we go from there? I don't know that dealing. But I've also known, in a sense of, I know when the fact that when you turn into that situation, it becomes more of a competition thing, and that's how WWE's always been. Okay. Because if you look at it between them and AEW, same situation. They don't deal. Look at it back in the day with NWA, not NWA, with WCW. Yeah. When you look at that, what happened with WCW, same situation. When they came in as competition, look what happened. That was a whole big situation, you know what I mean? So it's like one of them things where you look at it as, yo, you're my op, bro. Like at the end of the day, yo, love you, but you don't went to this side here. So it's like, yo, we can't do this relations. And then not only that, when you think about it too, the photo that he used for Heels Have Eyes 3 is with Ted DiBiase and Virgil, an old school photo, and he put that on in Times Square to promote his situation. Mm. So when you take into consideration, I look at it as,
ask permission from him?
That's where that goes.
Oh,
you see what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Because at the end of the day, I base it off of certain lawsuits that happen, and not even just with WWE, but y'all remember Kendrick Lamar when he had what was the song? It's him and SZA for the Black Panther album, All the Stars. Yeah. You remember he went into a lawsuit with an artist based off of that. You remember the last painting that he had in the video? They had that painting. An artist came and sued him for the likeliness of that painting, because from what it was stated in the article that his camp asked the artist for them paintings. She didn't want nothing. She didn't want that to tie to that. They got into a similar, I guess it was a artist that was the art was similar to hers, and it became a lawsuit situation. So, and even with WWE, Randy Orton's tattoos, they didn't know it could go that far. When WWE was using the tattoos in the game, the artist that did Randy Orton's tattoos was suing them because of the fact of the matter is they was using the tattoos in the game, because at that point you could create a character and you could use the tattoo sleeves.
Yeah.
So when you could create that, the artist got pissed off and go like, no, you cannot do that. No matter if it was purchased. It's my art.
Yeah.
So you cannot, even if it was purchased. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when it came down to it, and even Nori has said it, I forgot who was on the podcast when they said the picture, when they was using the picture as an NFT and they put the picture out, the photographer came and sued because it's my picture. It doesn't matter if you're in the picture, it is my picture.
I own the files.
I own the files. So when you do stuff like that, come here, fast forward, if you're promoting your album and you didn't have permission to promote your album, boom. Yo, bro, what are you doing? Like, I understand it. You want to pay homage, but this is business now.
Yeah.
And what it doesn't even make it any better that the fact of the matter is, like I said, that you have your own wrestling league. Don't know how to this deal with that. Then I also heard that too. SummerSlam, his boy, they graciously gave him. This is just based off an article that SummerSlam, he had his camp. They went to SummerSlam. They gave him a suite. His crew says that, yo, SummerSlam is boring, and they posted it on Facebook on the internet. Yo, SummerSlam is boring, and they falling asleep to a shit. So it's like, yo, you're disrespecting me in all sorts of ways. So at the end of the day, it's like, bro, what the fuck? You know what I mean? You do this heels turn, you have your whole situation and all that. So I feel like it's a cumulative of things, and I feel there's still more to this situation because the SummerSlam thing is kind of a light situation. Anybody's gonna get bored if they're not interested. I feel that. The business aspect of the heels thing, I can understand that because at the end of the day, if you didn't do the proper if you don't go down the proper channels to use this situation, you cannot use photography from us and expect to promote yourself if we don't have a conversation or the right avenues. Because at the end of the day, like I was explaining to somebody off air, was that the fact of the matter is, even if WWE agreed, Ted DiBiase could come and say no because I am in that picture. Virgil could say no, I'm in that picture. You know what I mean? Or the fact that the photographer could come and say, hell nah, I took that picture. No matter if the fact of the matter is if it was paid to WWE, whatever the situation, because that's back in the day. They was going through different dealings until now. So at the end of the day, they could have hired somebody just to do pictures for a certain amount of events and go like, nah, this is my picture. So there's proper channelings that you have to go through on a business aspect that you have to do that. Now I heard there's more things where they're saying that you need to take the references out the songs which he built his stuff around. But that's where I go to the
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a little much. Yeah.
But that's where I also go to that competition side. Because at the end of the day, like I said, you're using us for the backing of you. You have a whole platform that is a wrestling league for yourself. So it's like, I'm not saying it's right because it's not. Because at the end of the day, if you're a fan, like I've done it already. I've mentioned Undertaker, I've mentioned Brock Lesnar, I've mentioned Stone Cold in songs. You feel me? As a fan, because that's how I look at it as. But on a business tip and how they are and how they've always been, because they've dominated when they first came out, they took over territories back in the day. Based off of that, they still got that instinct inside them where the fact of the matter is you either going to be stepped on or stepped over type shit. You feel me? And at the end of the day, what's going to happen here is this. Yo, you doing you, cool. We have no dealings with you in a sense of that capacity. Hey, I don't want you using anything that's dealing with me. You feel me? And I don't know how long Fourth Row's been out. I don't know how active they've been. I don't know.
But from what I understand, he only has one wrestler on Fourth Row. Like he doesn't have like a whole roster.
I don't know.
I think, and I thought it was more like it's a wrestling management thing, right?
I don't even know. Because from based on what I'm hearing, I heard it is a league, and people saying the content is good.
Oh yeah.
So I guess he has wrestlers.
Oh okay.
I guess he has wrestlers there. Like I said, I haven't viewed the content to come and tell y'all exactly to the T, but from pretty much other sources is saying that he has his league and is doing good. You know what I mean? So that's where the conflict to me is, where the fact of the matter is I could see where WWE is looking at it as, you're not going to piggyback off of me if we're not even doing business.
So I have with all that, right? Because I see it from the business part, right? But also as a rapper, as a fan, right? The man's been doing this for years. Mm-hmm. That he's on Hills Have Eyes 3.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And I want to say for everyone he used a picture from the WWE.
That's what I'm saying.
So why all of a sudden now And if he's got a whole league, it's been y'all have got to know him. And then at the end of the day, also like how many other artists use? Like I guess for me, because I don't know much about it.
Because they even brought it up like Wale is part of heavy with WWE. Like I said, Westside Guns is heavy. There's a few other artists that's been part of like we've seen Snoop Dogg out here. We've seen like,
Post Malone.
We've seen Shaq out here. There's a few other celebrities and individuals that have made their ties with WWE.
Hell, even Trump
me?
was Shaq Dillon's been WWE for
a minute.
Yeah,
you feel me?
But him and what's his name? Shane McMahon. Yeah, they had
Bobby Lashley and Vince McMahon. Yeah, they had their little feud. But I feel, and this is just my opinion, I'm not sure. I just more feel it's on that back end of the situation of.
You think they're trying to put him in his place?
In a sense, or just show him that, look, bro, it's just a crazy situation because I'm looking at it as from a fan point. It's like, yo, this is fucked up.
Yeah, see, that's kind of where I'm coming from.
As a fan, it's fucked up because at the end of the day, if you're an ultra fan, especially like how Westside Gunn is, if I've been pretty much investing in you, poured in so much money just buying tickets.
Y'all inspired me.
Y'all inspired me.
Yeah.
I make lyrics about WWE reference.
Because of
you know
y'all.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is why I admire what y'all have done. You feel me? To the point that I've made my own because it's how much this meant to me.
Yeah, I love this
you
shit so much that I've
created my own.
Yeah.
That's where that's where it gets tricky. Because at the end of the day, like we said, when it comes down to these wrestling wars between industries, WWE has been in all of these wrestling wars.
Well, let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
And this is again from more of a from a fan. From a fan. That's something else further down the line. From a fan standpoint, right? Like, why do you think they haven't reached out to him before and been like, hey man, come be on the show? You know,
you see, and that's what I don't know.
Yeah, like because you've had all the Jelly Roll, you've had all these people.
Yeah, you had Travis Scott, you had all these guys that was there.
You see how much you see how much the man love wrestling. Why not involve him? Why are y'all putting him on the outs?
That's a good question, but you see that also goes with how much involved do either party wants to be, because the difference between Jelly Roll, Travis Scott, with Jelly Roll and Travis Scott, they went to a point where they got in the ring. Mm-hmm. Travis Scott was in the ring. And we all know it. WWE is based off of storylines and everything like that, so it's based off a story. So I don't know that per se. I don't know their conversations. I don't know their dealings. I don't know. That's why I said, to me, I feel like there's more information because all I'm basing it off of is business. That's all I'm looking at. It's all of a business situation.
Another thing I got is, if you're thinking like WWE, why is there an explanation on why they kicked him out of the show?
That's what I said. The only two that everybody's talking, the only two that came out was the poster and the dealings of that. Without,
so they already had some legal shit.
So that legal shit was with dealing with the photos or whatever. But I feel like I said, there's a more deep cut to that because that to me that's just the surface of if there was a deeper problem. Hasn't been mentioned
but
yet.
See, so
I haven't seen it yet.
If I'm Westside Gunn and I'm like, oh, okay, they suing me for my pictures on my albums or whatever, but I still love them. I'm going to the show. It ain't that deep for me. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But obviously, apparently, it's that deep for them.
And it's deep for him now because the way he's looking at it is like, I'm not supporting them no more.
Yeah.
Because of this, I'm not supporting them no more.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel there's another explanation, because to me, if it's only based off of what is stated, I'm not gonna lie to you. No matter if it's business or not, this could have been handled a whole different way.
Yeah, you didn't have to escort that man out.
You didn't have to escort him out 3 minutes into the situation of Monday Night Raw.
The craziest shit is they knew where to find him at,
bro.
They pulled up that video is crazy.
Yeah, because he was front row. Yeah. He was front row, front and center. So it was like 8:00. The show started. They said the man got escorted at 8:03.
And it's not like he was causing a ruckus or nothing. It's not like he was
not from what I know.
Yeah, he's just like, man, they kicking me out, man. Yeah, like he was shocked. It's not like he was in there with a gang of boys trying to intimidate anybody. He was solo dolo. You know, from what I've seen, he was solo in the video. Let me put it like that. He probably had some people with him. But so, all right, as a fan, like if you're a fan of West Side Gun and a fan of WWE, do you?
Do you choose a side?
Yeah.
That's you see. The only way I can say that is when the smoke clears. To be honest.
Do you think some people, because there
Like,
gotta be somebody.
there's gonna be people that's gonna go like, yo, fuck WWE because that's bullshit.
That's my boy.
That's West Side Gun. Why would the fuck
Yeah.
y'all do that? Da 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 da. But there's also gonna be fans of WWE that's gonna look at this like, yo, fuck him. Like whatever he did, he must have deserved it. Because you know that's how it's gonna look. People gonna look at this like, yo, he must have did something. That's why they kicked him out. Without going through the details of it, they gonna look at it like, he deserved it. There's a reason why he kicked him out. He must have did something stupid and did it. They gonna have their prejudgments of it without knowing the facts. And the same thing on West Side Gun side, they're gonna have prejudgments without knowing the facts of what's really happening.
See, and then because the reason why I'm asking is because they're going even to the links of saying take our name out your mouth in your music, any rights or like, which I don't think they're gonna get much from because, I mean, hell, I mean, what are you gonna do? You can't tell somebody not to say shit.
That right there, I don't think they would. That's why I find that's where that way it goes too far. Like,
It's kind of like they trying to put a boot in his back.
And that's why I feel like there's more to this whole situation than it is what is perceived to be. Because if it is just about him doing his own situation, and there was a conversation where he's like, nah, I'm not doing that, then I could also, that's why I said I could see on the business aspect, like I try to extend my hand to either help you or whatever, but you chose X, Y, and Z.
This is just me guessing. I don't have no clue, obviously. But what if there was like some backroom deal where he was trying to get some of his wrestlers involved with WWE, trying to get them up the next level, and things went bad that way.
That
he was
could be
like, you know what? That was their choice. I'm still going to. But they were like, nah. Matter of fact, stop posting our pictures on your albums. Matter of fact, don't say us anything, blah, blah, blah.
It can be, you know what I mean? Like I said, it can be.
But I see it like this. WWE is huge. Why are you so worried about it? If it's about competition, he is not as big as you. The big stage, it's like saying like a minor foot, like the Drillers or whatever they call themselves now. The NFL is like, nah. we got all the no. Why not? Like, why can't to me? I'm so big. Why do I even care about what you're doing? It's not like you're taking any odds away from my shit. Because if you're watching wrestling, and if you're a real big wrestling fan, why not watch all the wrestling you can watch? Whenever WWE ain't on, why don't I go to some local whatever? Or you know what I'm saying? That don't make to me that's
it's
selfish.
It's selfish, and it's just that old school mentality, bro. Like I said, think about all the wars that they have. It's just that mentality because they came from the rating wars, where the fact that they could have got shut down by WCW years ago until they dominated, until they switched it up and they dominated. AEW came in, real shit. AEW came in, had the same rating war, technically a rating war again. Yeah, they had a rating war again when WWE was literally at its lowest. They had a rating war again. AEW came in, made a fresh situation and whatever. And I ain't gonna say I've never watched AEW, but I've always heard the speculations on it. And in the beginning years of it, it popped out. It was fresh. It felt more real. Everything felt nice. And till this day, there's a lot of people that will come and say AEW is still better than WWE. Hey man, yo, that's your opinion. That's your choice. It is what it is, and it could be facts. I don't know because I don't watch AEW. But
on some level, why is WWE wanting a monopoly over all of wrestling?
That's all I keep saying. That's how.
But that shit's illegal too.
It's crazy.
That shit is illegal. But
it's not really. But at the end of the day, that's how they've been. They've been that dominant factor. That's why I say if you look at all the territories, the South had a territory, the East had everybody before it was just WWE. Everybody had territories. You feel me? Atlanta had their territory. I believe Texas had their territory of wrestling. Everybody had their local territories where these older wrestlers would tell you, we had to go through territories to wrestle just to make our name for ourselves and whatever. And if y'all even watch the Vince McMahon doc on Netflix, it explains all of that too, from when his pops started it. and then from the WWF Foundation, and then after that, it turned into when he took it over, and he pretty much learned and was like, all right, cool. We're gonna start taking these wrestlers came from this territory. I want him here. I want this wrestler here, and I this, and then after that, start taking over these territories, and to the point where, literally speaking, now when you think about it, they are globally the biggest ones because they could go anywhere. Like hell, they in Riyadh, damn near almost how many times a year. And they're international as hell. You feel me? That's why the whole Netflix deal and all that went through. You feel me? Because of how international they are.
But that's what I'm saying. They're so powerful. Why does it matter about a little fourth row,
bro?
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know, but once again, it could be to me it's like sound like a greed thing, like more and more. Because think about it. Even now, when you sit down there and think about it, the territory that if you think about territories, if nobody understands. TNA is technically TNA was another competition for WWE. Yeah. Ring of Honor is with AEW. They have connections with AEW. We have connections with Luchador, with AAA Luchador. We just got that. We have that deal. We have TNA. So they have deals with the fact that even on their platforms as TNA and Luchador, they could come over and wrestle in WWE. Our guys could go over to TNA and wrestle. They could go to AAA. And so they made their little community within that where the fact that, yo, if you partner with me, we could start going here. Your wrestlers could come here. Your wrestlers could go there.
Maybe they're like gatekeeping. Like if you want to be a part of this, you got to kiss the ring. And maybe he didn't want to kiss the ring.
But the crazy about that is we still have a lot of. But like you go back to your statement, there's still a lot of indie wrestling that has nothing to do with neither side of these platforms. Yeah. So that's why I look at it as, like you said, it could be a deal that went bad, it went sour, that we don't know of, because this is all speculation. And I'm gonna just put it like that: it's all speculation. Mm-hmm. It could be a deal that went bad. It could be a deal where the fact of the matter is WWE could have felt threatened or whatever the case may be based off of that. Or it could also, but once again, when you think of it on a business aspect, it could be in a way where the fact of I'm looking at this guy. Yeah, we've been supporting each other for so long. You started your own thing. I don't want it to feel like you using me to promote you because we have no ties. Your business entity and my business entity don't have no connection with each other. I get it that you admired us. I get that you started your foundation off of us based off of what you've seen and you wanted to do the same thing. But at the end of the day, we still have no connections here. So in the end of this, I can't have my name connected to you when we are technically not connected. We have no business deal here. We have nothing there. So,
but do you think that I'll put it like this? It's like saying you are like, because maybe we can even kind of go into like some stand shit, right? Like kind of like if I'm a big ass fucking rapper, right? Famous, ultra famous, but there's another rapper coming up who they love me, they show up, you know, but they're making a wave. If I see them at my concert front row and I kick them out, they'd be like, "Oh, you just hating."
Baby,
you feel threatened. You feel why you kick that nigga out the show? He paid for that seat, right? It's kind of like, okay, because I see it like, if I'm the guy who's the fan, I'm like, bro, all I do is I like your music. You inspired me to do this. You inspire me, and just because you are an artist still, and you're still doing this and you're doing that, and I rock some of your merch. Like, let's say I buy a shirt from one of your concerts, but I'm in my video rapping with it. Now, I get the business like, oh, because you can make it very legal. You're like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Now you got people thinking you a part of this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you could also be like, oh man, that man showing love. I know where that specific T-shirt was sold at this concert at this day on this day, and that's why we did it. You know what I'm saying? Memorabilia.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah. I guess what I'm getting at is it's crazy, man. I just like, because at the end of the day, it's wrestling and rapping, right? But it's like, man, to me, it's just wild. The WWE's is like, nah, yeah, whatever you got going on, we don't want nothing to do with it. It's just a weird thing, man.
It's a weird. That's what I say. It's a weird dynamic. It's a weird situation that popped off at the end of the day. Like, you know what I mean? This ain't the first one. Like I said, Travis Scott had his deal, but I don't know what. I really haven't dived deep into what Travis Scott did with W because he was part of their situation. He was literally in storylines and all that. And then all of a sudden, whatever happened, they cut ties. WWE cut ties with Travis Scott for whatever he did or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So this is like, to me, like the second artist that done it, because if you think about it, Cactus Jack versus Travis Scott situation, based off of, if you go back, it's a Mick Foley situation.
Mick Foley, yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but I don't know if it didn't go that harsh with. That's why I said there's something. That's why I feel like something is missing.
Yeah, because
it didn't go as harsh as that. Whatever Travis Scott did, they didn't
call it Cactus Jack. Yeah,
so they didn't take away that brand,
yeah,
or whatever for him. But whatever happened here, I don't know.
And see, he's using a legit wrestling like thing persona,
exactly.
But Westside Gunn isn't like naming his stuff like, you know. He may be using a picture or two because some of them pictures is badass.
Yeah, and these old pictures. But that's what I'm saying. That's what with that deal though. That's why I say it goes crazy, because when you sit down here and think about it, if WWE approves the picture, right? If WWE approves the picture, in a sense of, if I own this picture, I approve it, whatever. It can still backlash with the fact that Ted DiBiase, because I'm in this picture, I don't want to be part of this.
Well, see, you know, on some level, right? Because WWE owns the likeness and the name and all that.
And that's facts. You know. But I don't know if they do the same thing, like when it comes down to thing, because after a while, that is true. When it comes down to a name, if they give you a name of whatever the case may be, they owns that name or whatever the case it is. But once again, we're talking about deals that happened years ago.
Yeah,
we're not even
old school.
This
deals,
old
before
school
they had
deals,
all the power.
So when Ted DiBiase and them was coming up or whatever, WWE was still on the growing process. Yeah, they took over territories, but they still on the growing phase. So at the end of the day, I don't know what deal they had with him back in the day. I don't know what deal they had with his name. I don't know if they had a deal with the fact of the matter is, this name belongs to you after a while. You know what I mean? I don't know. And at the end of the day, same thing with the photographer, same thing with all of that. That dynamic there, they could be certain deals that's put into place where the fact of the matter is, I can't, even if I approve, these people got to approve the same way. Mm-hmm. So even if we approve as the biggest entity, if they don't want this likeness, they could come back and sue me and come and say, yo, I never approved of me being here. I wasn't meant to be used here. You told me in my contract this is only used for promotions of WWE, not for promotions of anywhere outside of this, because it's what I signed up for. Yeah. So if all of that is being put into place, like I said, he used pictures before, but at the end of the day, if a certain circumstance come back now, if this is the situation or has been catching up to them over these years, you have to stop it in the butt. You feel me? You got to nip that in the butt.
Yeah, because he changed the covers to one of his wrestlers. But yeah, man, there's a lot of lawsuits going on the main stage, bro. Because not only is there still 1,000 things going on with Drake, I keep seeing new ones every day.
Joyner
and Vlad, which is the most corniest. Because Vlad is on some cornball shit, apparently. Hey, let me get one more. It don't even matter what it is. Vlad is on some cornball shit. I feel Joyner is justified for whatever crash out he's having.
I feel like people need to understand, if somebody don't want to do an interview with you, they don't have to do an interview with you. Like, real shit.
And what you think, you threatening to sue me, gonna make me want to do an interview
anyway?
More? Yeah.
Like, now, my whole thing about this, and this is just me playing devil's advocate on the shit. The only way I'm seeing this is probably somewhat justified if they had a contractual agreement.
They didn't.
That's what I said. That's the only way I'm seeing this justified if they had a contractual agreement. That the fact of, if I help promote your album, if I help promote your song, you owe me, instead of paying me in dollars, you could give me an interview. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Let's do an interview together and whatever. Then I would have looked at it like, yo, Johnny, you kind of fucked up, bro. Like, at the end of the day, he helped you on this end. Mm-hmm. No matter however you have a feelings towards old boy, follow your contract guidelines and go from there.
I did a little background in on it. I did the deal. So basically, where this is stemming from, and Joyner dropped all the screenshots and all that too. Mm-hmm. So basically, this is stemming from, Vlad's been for years trying to get Joyner on Vlad TV. He's been hitting Joyner in his inbox. He's been hitting his manager in his inbox. You know, and they just hey, we'll get back to you. We'll talk with him. We'll get back to you. So I think the snake part about it is Vlad decided to wait, right? So Vlad has that I can't remember old boy's name, but he has this episode with old boy that has been going viral, and people have clipped the hell out of it. It's going viral on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and different parts of where he's talking is going viral. So anyway, Joyner had his issue with Skepta or whatever. So in that interview, old boy was like, "Man, I hate London rappers. He's a London rap." So basically Joyner took that clip from you know how it goes. You see a meme, you save it in your phone.
So you took the clip and posted it back.
Yeah. So then Vlad is basically like, "Oh, I'm suing you for copyright infringement, but this will go away if you do the interview. Give me the interview. This will go away." And then Joyner, he posted that, "Fuck you." Basically, he sent. It was funny in the screenshot. He sent. Vlad was telling his manager, "Hey, look, legally, I'll do this, that, but if he takes it down and do the interview, we can, go all the way." And then Joyner says, "Please politely tell Mr. Vlad." And then he cusses him out so smooth, calls him a bitch and this and that and this and that. And then he was like, "If you would please tell him that, thank you." And then the manager screenshotted it and sent it to Vlad. And was like,
"Okay,
this is what Mr. Lucas wanted to say." I think Joyner's response is for real. It's like, bro, because after a while, right, I get copyright infringement. It's crazy if I'm making money off of it, right? It's like plagiarism. But after a while, like, things go viral, right? Things go viral, and it's not yours anymore. It's the culture's. Old boy in the video, he's a comedian, and he's funny as hell, right? The stuff he was. That whole episode is he wilding, right? But the whole point, right, is it's him, right? He made it funny. It wasn't Vlad. And the reason it's Vlad is because Vlad
on TV is on his platform.
You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't Vlad that made it that way, right? But at the end of the day, it left your stratosphere and it hit the main vein.
That's a fact, because at this point now, it got reposted so many times,
multiple times. Yes.
So if you gotta go down that road, there's a lot of people you're gonna have to go and say, like, I gotta sue you.
Yeah, but you fucking eyeballing
Joyner because you wanted something from him.
Yeah.
So I don't blame him. Go like, yo, call your lawyer, bro. Like, cause at the end of the day, yo, it got reposted already.
Yeah.
Multiple times. Yeah. It got reposted, and especially in the heat between him and Skepta, of course, it got reposted again. So when people saw it, like, it made sense at that moment to repost that. So if he reposted that, to come and go like, oh, this is my gateway in to get him to do an interview.
Yeah, you trying to muscle me.
Like, hell nah.
Yeah, and you know what? That's why I ain't never consumed Vlad's content because I always thought it was weird. Like, you get these rappers on here and then you get them to want to talk about street shit and basically incriminate themselves. And I never messed with it. But now Vlad ain't beating no bitch made nigga allegations. You know what I'm saying? And people have been Vlad in the culture of hip hop. I don't understand why rappers even go to Vlad. I don't understand why they do anyway. But they do, and he's put himself in a position to be a part of the conversation sometimes. Because he do have interviews, like his interviews with Boosie and stuff like that. That interview he has with Tony Yayo that everybody means, where he Tony Yayo looking at him like that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, like, there's all types of stuff that Vlad has brought to the culture, but Vlad...
he kicked himself in the foot with the Marlon Wayne situation.
Yeah.
When Marlon Wayne hit him with where because Vlad, well, a lot of people, interviewers, pay people to come and interview. And I guess when it came down to it, Marlon Wayne told him, like, yo, if you want me on your platform, give me 40,000 or whatever, and give me a certain percentage off of every time this goes viral. And of course, he went and go like, nah, we ain't gonna do that. That's not your value in the space. You're not even worth that, because I know what he said. I think he told Ari Spears or whatever the case may be, and Ari Spears was like,
The guy. That's who I'm talking about.
He told Aries Spears that pretty much he don't believe Marlon would have like look at the videos that he made. He look at all his interviews. They don't pass 100,000 views or whatever. And then people screenshot it and they go like, he with Big Boy TV in LA, 1 point something million. He went to goddamn the same one Breakfast Club. 800 to 1 point something million. You know, they looking at this and go like, what do you mean he wasn't going to be worth his value? Yeah. When the fact of the matter is you wanted him here. He knows what he's worth. He knows his brand. He knows his business. Marlon been doing his thing for himself.
And you know what? He may not even charge everybody. He may not even charge any of those people. But you know what? Maybe because Vlad is who Vlad is. Yeah, I'm going to hit you with a price tag.
Like,
yeah, you want to. And to be honest, the culture vulture stuff, because that's all Vlad do, is he just profit off of black entertainment. He just makes content around entertainment, and that's all he does. He's not really doing nothing special. He gets these rappers to talk about stuff they probably shouldn't on camera, and that's the interesting part about it all. But so look with Ari Spears, that is probably the best thing that ever happened to Vlad because it keeps him in the conversation.
Yeah, between him and Michael J. White, because there's like the only two people that really the most common people on this channel.
Talking about funny. But at the end of the day, man, I support Joyner in saying fuck Vlad. Because Vlad TV, man, it's not like I don't ever see what it's adding to the culture of hip hop. I always see it's promoting all the negative shit, you know, and like I guess some conversations have been started through Vlad, you know, or whatever, but I've never felt like it was necessary to even, you know what I'm saying, consider it. It's kind of like what I say, like I feel about Aiden Ross now. So what? You can get a rapper on there. You probably paid the motherfucker to be there. You know what? You know. So Vlad TV. I hope Joyner wins. Beat you in this lawsuit because F Vlad. But that's basically it. There's just so much going on illegally. It seems like Drake done opened up a can of worms. Everybody's suing each other nowadays. Everybody just suing.
Everybody coming for it. Even with this small one, we didn't even know the whole footage situation. With the Cameron and J. Cole situation.
Yeah, which that's another thing. It's like whoa.
But that's where it goes into that. I guess it's a contractual agreement.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you know what I mean, if I help you out, be a contract. If I help you out on your album, all I want you to do is come on the platform. Let's talk about it. Let's chop it up. It's not like you're going anywhere else. You're talking to other artists at this point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's have a conversation. Let's chop it up or whatever. And especially if you make that promise or whatever agreement, like, yeah, you know what, I got you. I'm going to do this or whatever the case may be, and ghosted.
Yeah.
But that's kind of crazy.
J. Cole, Mr. Cole, you got to come outside at some point, bro. You can't hide forever. It's been over a year now, buddy. Yeah, there's only look. We said take mental health days, not mental health years. Where's the fall off? I'm still waiting for that, you know. But anyway, yeah. No, I hope everybody going through legal issues. Don't tap down. Don't tap down hip hop. Man, let's not make hip hop the legal battleground. Going back to the West Side Gun thing. Like hip hop is expressive. We use lyrics. It's a word thing. Like, and if I draw inspiration from a lyric, I hope I don't get sued because let's say I use some company's name in a song and I used it in a way that makes sense to me, but they're like, I don't want my company or my brand related to hip hop, so I don't want it because that's what that opens the door for.
It does, and that'll be hard though because that means damn near every artist gotta go.
But that's why I'm saying I don't think it will. I don't think it'll show any credence because, like, at the end of the day, like, how are you gonna stop that man from saying what his whole if the man is into wrestling, he's going to use wrestling references. He's going to use this and that. If he, you know, it's a part of his perspective. You know what I'm saying? You can't sue somebody for perspectives.
Yeah.
You know, that's insane.
That's gonna be deep. That's what I said. For that one whole situation, that's gonna be a deep situation. Like I said, I feel like there's more information that I probably haven't came across as yet, or whatever the case may be. But for the lyrics part, to me, it don't make sense. that there, like remove all of our references out, that don't make sense. For me, I'm looking at it as this got to be deeper than what the hell I'm listening for, what I'm looking at.
And it's
for you to go like that.
If you start something like that, and then you got to go back into every archive, that's gonna open the door for. It's like the Rory shit. Niggas just gonna be going through your old shit just to find shit to be mad at, boy.
For what?
Speaking of that, do you think we feel like we got time to talk about it before we leave?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so anybody who listens to us who is not just face stuck in their phone all the time. So there's a podcast called Rory and Mal. They used to be a part of the Joe Budden podcast on some level. They used to be co-hosts, right? So they created their own podcast. They got their own thing going. So Rory specifically ended up in a situation that stemmed just from Kendrick fans, Kendrick stans getting upset about something that was said on the podcast. Now, I'm going to talk about stan culture while I say all this, but then I'm also talking about what's going on with Rory. So what's going on with Rory is he basically got hit with the docs of his old tweets for 2011, and he was in the space, and there is a bunch of the tweets where you look at them, you're like, why you post that? You know, I was looking at some of them like, ooh, like they got receipts on you, boy. And this shit's so bad, they tried to hit my boy Parks. They tried to get
Parks?
They trying to find reasons to mess with Parks. Because they like, if one white boy in the hip hop space gonna do it, maybe we need to check all of them. And I'm like, y'all are going crazy. Parks, that's one of my favorite people on Joe Budden.
Yeah.
But anyway, Rory said some stuff, definitely some wild stuff. It was some old lyrics that he was retweeting, and then there are some things that he said that, like I said, that it could be perceived as ultra racist or racist-esque. You know what I'm saying? And or just flat out racist, whatever you want to say. And he ended up getting into an argument on Space, trying to defend himself, and then turning around, getting on their platform and apologizing anyway. Which I think that's what he should have did in the first place. If he was going to do that, don't make it public. I think it's stupid. Like as a person of a certain level, if something happens like this, you instantly just go, hey, don't go and deal with the stands and the fan. Because they gonna try to cruise. Because they want a moment.
Yeah.
Because now there's moments. You got a moment of this dude dressing Rory down, yelling at him on his hindquarters, and now that's going to live on the internet forever. Of this dude basically running you amok on the Twitter Spaces. I feel like you should, if you feel bad about the tweets and this and that. There's that part, right? So with the Rory situation, my thing is how far back do we give people grace for their fucking old dumbass tweets?
Because I was about to ask, dude, because it's like what we said earlier. When it comes down to it, how far do we go back to holding somebody accountable for something? Like, in a sense of when they're younger versus them maturing. Because we ain't talking about tweets that's you saying this, and this was like 2022, 2023. Yeah. You're talking about 2011?
Yeah. And they say he was about 20. I was about that age.
You know what I mean?
I think.
No,
I was about 18. Yeah.
So
18, 19, 17.
We're talking about, technically speaking, somebody really trying to find themselves. And I don't know his whole situation, and I ain't going to defend it. You feel me? But this ain't the first time it's happened. You know what I mean? It's like we go and we find people, and then after that, you go searching back into old tweets that is, a decade old, when these people were younger, don't know what they've gone through, don't know where their mindset was at that situation. And they say certain things on Twitter, and you, like you said, we question like, why would you even tweet that? Why would you put that out? No matter if this is what you believe or disbelieve, it's a different time and whatever. So you don't know what people's belief is, but then when you see them now, you judge them for something that happened 10 years ago, 20, like 15, like to me, at some point, you have to go like, yo, this is not the same person, because we're not the same person that we were 10 years ago, 15 years ago. We're not the same person. Mindset has changed. Life has changed. Our circle has changed. All this have changed to the perspective of, yo, what I was thinking back then, I could have been a lost soul. I could have been going through shit. Doesn't give them the right to do it. But at the end of the day, that's sometimes what's happening. They see their perspective on certain things were different when they made that tweet versus where I'm at today in current time. I'm not thinking that way like I was then. Yes, if it's sus and it's racist or whatever, yes, you're going to look at it like, yo, what the fuck, bro? But then you watch him now and he was like, can you give me the compare? Like, what changed? What really happened?
And I think that's why I'm two minds of it all, right? Because, I want people to be able to grow and change, right? I want people to be able to grow and change. But at the same time, I love this culture, hip hop. Hip hop culture is basically a black culture thing, right? It's dominated by African Americans. You know, like, why are you posting this shit? And then how am I supposed to fucking have respect for you in a space that is a black space and you have shit like this going on? So I see it from both point of views, I guess. Because at the end of the day, like, yeah, bro, like, you make yourself to be such this and such that. But then you turn around and this is the way you were operating back then. Yeah, you were young. Yeah, you were dumb. Yeah, but let me not say that. But I'm pretty sure you could go back and find some dumb stuff, but it ain't nothing crazy.
Facts.
It may be me making myself look stupid, but other than that, like, thing. Bro, what?
Are we putting our self perspectives on certain things versus somebody else's?
Yeah, that's true.
Because at the end of the day, just because we wouldn't have done it, don't mean, like I said before, that don't mean that what their situation was.
Yeah.
Because it goes back to our street shit. Just because I wasn't part of the streets don't mean somebody else didn't part of the streets. Just because my situation turned out one way don't mean somebody else's situation wasn't different. You know what I mean? So when we hold somebody, when they grow, just like we want to be perceived as how we grew, we came from a certain past, we came from a certain situation, and we outgrew it to the point that we are where we are standing now. I feel like after a certain point, you have to give certain people grace, because at the end of the day, they had to learn how to grow. Like I said, I don't know that man's situation. I don't know what his upbringing is. I don't know what his whole mentality was when he was there. I don't know what his circle was. I don't know. You feel me? And that's why I said I'm not defending him, but it goes back to, we also have to look at things in a different light, because it's different how I look at it as, if this was 5 years ago, 2 years ago, I'm looking at this like, yeah, bro, you on some bullshit. You really on some real bullshit.
And you know what? That's where I get to my stand part, right? Mm-hmm. Kendrick stands, Drake stands, Nicki stands, all the stands. Y'all trip. Who got enough time to scroll all the way back on somebody's Twitter profile to 2011 to figure out? So how far were you gonna go,
bro?
You ain't got nothing else going on in life,
bro.
Ain't no way in hell you love a person that you ain't never met that much.
That is a deep dive to go. Damn, what was it, 14 years back?
All just to prove, and the funny thing is, all just to prove that Shawty on Rory and Mal actually had something negative to say about Kendrick. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy. So what they did was, obviously they went back to go look at all of them. Her, Rory, and Mal. So, Nick, what are y'all doing? Y'all got time? Y'all got enough time in your day to go back and look at 3 different accounts and go as far back as you can to find some negative stuff?
That's a lot of dedication. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's a major
culture
dedication,
is getting a little weird, bro. Like, why are we even doing this? Why is there grown folks in spaces on X having debates about Kendrick Lamar, about Cardi, about Nicki, about what? I wish I had that amount of time, boy. I bet you. I would have 2 albums out right now.
The way they did that,
boy. My thing is, look, I get it. I love music. I love certain artists. I respect certain artists' thought process when they make music and this and that and all that. I'm a hip hop head. to some regards, right? But ain't now. Well, wait a minute. Maybe if I grew up in the '90s and I actually was around when Tupac was doing his thing, but even still, no, I'm retracting that well because I know I fucks with Pac. But if Pac did some stupid stuff, or if Pac, I'm not fighting nobody in the streets for this.
No, I'm not.
And Pac and Biggie, I'm not going into a bar. Fuck anybody that's a Biggie fan. Yeah, no, I'm like, hey, you fuck you. We can sit there and have a
conversation,
hip hop debate about it. But come on, bro, y'all take this stuff too far. You can like I said, stan culture is getting out of control. You got people doing dumb stuff just off the strength of what you listen to. So, and back to my people are craving community so much. They find a community in
other things,
in obsession of a thing. It gives them purpose. Go outside. Go outside and meet your neighbor.
Facts at this point.
Talk to your boss at work. Do something. But do something besides that, please.
I ain't gonna lie, that is.
It's a little weird.
It's weird.
It shows how weird people can be.
To me personally, if y'all have all that dedication to search somebody back to 2011, y'all should be doing a lot of productive shit out here. Like, cause I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, after a while, for me personally, I can't do that. To go back, to me, going back a year alone is already like, all right, cool. I reached a year. Why am I going back 14 of them? 14 years. That is crazy. Because I remember even with the Kevin Hart situation, they went back years. There is no way I'm going back this far just to come and find something discriminating. I don't. If I got to go back that far to find something discriminating, bro, at this point, like, nah, bro.
Get a hobby. Learn that. Pick up knitting or something. Pick up playing soccer. Go join a softball league or something. Because good Lord, the internet is rotting people's brains. I swear to God. Bro. And you know one thing I think.
That's a lot of scrolling power.
I think it is interesting that any mega artist can be like, hey, I have an army of Twitter fingers that I can send at any of my opponents. Yeah, that's cool and all, but come on. What does that make? I'm just a useful idiot. It's basically all I do is sit around and wait for Nicki Minaj to tell me to attack Cardi. Or every chance I get, I'm attacking Cardi because I hope I hope Nicki likes one of my tweets. It's so insane.
It don't help you much. Like at the end of the day, what does that get you?
Look, I'm a Kendrick fan, but Kendrick ain't fucking none of y'all, I promise. That man don't even be on social media. He probably don't even know y'all exist. He don't know the Kendrick Hive is out there.
Bro.
I'm pretty sure he knows, right? You gotta know. If you that big, yeah, you know. But I bet you he gets a good chuckle out of some of the stuff. But this stuff is insane.
Far.
Yeah.
It's just going too far.
Because I do like I said, I'm two of two minds, right? Yeah, I would like to let people grow, but also at the same time, if you dumb enough to not go back, if I make it big, why not? If I got the resources, why not start all over? Why am I still using the same account when I was 20?
But then again, what we also got to think of is too, like, even if, like us now, do we go back and look at the shit that we said back in the day?
Nope, you just move forward.
You just move forward.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, that's what I feel like here. He just moved forward because at the end of the day, however his transition and he came here into the hip hop space and he did what he did, came on have his platform, it grew. He came with Joe Budden and whatever, and all his other accolades that he's done. Yo, you don't think about 20-year-old you when I'm 25. You don't think about 20-year-old you when I'm 30. You don't think about that stuff because you've moved on. Mm-hmm. So it's like when somebody brings up something that's damn near going on 2 decades old, to put that in your face like, aha, I got you. I got you. See what you said? Is to me, I'm looking at you like,
look, the crazy thing is some of these stands, like, and I've seen it on TikTok, they will go far back to check your IP address to know exactly where, this and that. You like, whoa. You look, take some of that and go be a detective.
Do something.
Go work for the NSA or something, but Jesus Christ, leave people alone. And yes, do I believe some people need to be held accountable for their thoughts? I think when it comes down to social issues like racism, and if we find out that you've been a racist piece of crap in the back in the day, yeah, now that you're in public, all right, now you changed your mind, but let's address this. I think okay, I'll give you some time. If you still want to hold where you are, address what this is. Since you decided you weren't going to delete it, or you weren't going to, and the internet is free for everybody, and there is there is people out there who are going to spend time to make sure they hate you that bad. At least, and then when it comes to light, address it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I do, and then we can move forward, right? But other than that, like I'm like, man. I think some people do need to be, because now you are this thing for me. It's like you see some, let's say, who's a white artist that I really like? Let's say, I'm trying to think of some music.
You got Eminem, you got
not just typically rap. Let's just say a famous white artist like Hayley Williams, right? Let's say Hayley Williams is Hayley Williams. She's big. She's the lead singer of Paramore. You know what I'm saying? But all of a sudden you go back and you see she got all these racist tweets from 2011 that span from 2011 to maybe 2013, and you're like, whoa. So is this who you really are? And if this ain't who you really are, you better say something about it now.
Well, here's me thinking. What happened if she already addressed the situation and we just now wasn't on par of it?
That's true.
Because that's one thing again too. We don't know if he had addressed the situation before. It may not have been a major thing because this could have been him coming up and people saw it's like, yo, before we move forward, you want to talk about this shit? This is what we saw. So you want to address it, and it's been addressed. Yeah. You know what I mean? And the fact that matters, because it's been addressed already and they've accepted or whatever, they move forward. It's just the fact that we are getting light of it now because somebody went back. Because if you look at it, if this whole situation never would have happened, we would have never saw these tweets, right? Mm-hmm. Because of the whole Kendrick, because of old girl that comes and said she never said she didn't like Kendrick. They found out like, yo, you did say this, you did say that, or whatever the case may be. And she said, oh, my bad. Well, yeah, at that point or whatever. If he had addressed it or whatever the case may be, we might not have known that. There could have been a conversation that had been happening. It probably not been off screen. It could have been off screen, and he could have explained himself to a bunch of people.
The JVP community, they said the wrong thing. They might have went and found those tweets. Joe Budden podcast got some stands too.
I know.
Jesus Christ,
they got a lot. But that's what I'm feeling like. It don't, to me personally, is like you said, we holding people accountable. We chastising people for things that happened years ago that we don't know personally. Yeah. And we don't know their mindsets of what they've been going through or what they've seen or what they've been through. I'm not justifying the situation. I don't know if the man addressed it already within his spaces, within people that he's talked to, within whatever, that it may not have been public at that time. Because at the time, even if he had addressed it on a video, we might not even know who Rory was to even see this video. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because he wasn't as known as he is now. Yeah. So
nobody would know him without Joe Budden podcast.
So,
at the end of the day, what I'm trying to get at for me, and I'm pretty sure, it's just a common thought with a lot of people is like, you're in a black space, you said all this weird shit about black people back in the day. You wanna be in this black space. What's up with this? You know what I'm saying? And you know how I feel about. We didn't have many conversations on this podcast. I feel like people get a little too sensitive and stuff. But at the same time, like if you were gonna be around me, if we gonna let you into the culture, all right, then be of the culture. And let's make sure, because this is a unique black thing. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the things we get to hold on to that we always fighting for. But on the other foot, right? On the other foot, maybe that's why we need gatekeeping. Maybe we shouldn't always let any and everybody through the door. That there was that conversation they had on Joe Budden about the cookout, right? Like you can't always. I mean, the whole cookout idea is stupid. Like just because somebody does something right, don't mean they need to. Everybody need to be at the cookout. sometimes we do need to hold some things to ourselves, and that's just the truth. And that's really where I feel. But at the same time, if we are going to let people in our space, if we're going to let, like, that's kind of where my upset was with like Post Malone, right? You use us to get fame, and then you diss us on the way out. You get what I'm saying? You do all this to diss, and I'm thinking like hip hop heads and hip hop fans are tired of that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So we're gonna make sure you straight. You know what I'm saying? You really love this, and I think that's the thing for me is like, you really down, or you just, you know what I'm saying? That's why Vlad is that's why we look at Vlad the way Vlad is looked at. It's because you really ain't you ain't doing nothing but capitalizing off of this. But on the other end, Rory, Mel, Mal, and all them have all said, and even on the Joe Budden podcast, they were like, man, Rory ain't like that. You know what I'm saying? I think on some level, getting back to the stand thing, it's just a reason for people's fans to kick people's back in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There is that part, there is that level too. Because at the end of the day, y'all just want y'all's lick back because they talked about y'all's favorite artist.
Yeah.
And they didn't want, basically this is coming from him saying the Clips should win. Them all pretty much being in agreement that the Clips should probably win the Grammy for album of the year. So at the end of the day, none of this it's all just pettiness.
Yeah.
So there is a level of it's to become a greater conversation.
Yeah.
But it's really off of some pettiness from some super fans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's fact. And to me, I was just thinking about that as like something that you said, the explanation. Even if he had explained it earlier on in the day, like when he first came into the space and accepted it, whatever the case may be, that's where the point of, are we going to still judge him after he explained it? Or are we going to keep holding this over his head or whatever? Because then that will put it in our sense of, then we're wrong. Because at the end of the day, like the growth, if he grown and he explained like, listen, yo, I just want y'all to know at this certain point, I said some foul shit that, you know, I was here, whatever the situation was, why he said it or whatever the content is. But this is not where I'm at. This is not where my mindset is. This is not what I think. This is just me being young and dumb. Yeah. You feel me? Yeah, I could take it as it is. I apologize. I do whatever or whatever. But I'm going to show y'all that this is not where I'm at. You feel me? After a while, if we do stuff like that for anybody, like even if this is a situation, somebody coming straight forward says that, we as people we can't hold them to that no more. Yeah. Because they face this straight forward. And like I said, I don't know if he has. I don't know if he hasn't. I know because it popped up, you're going to do what everybody else do. You're going to defend it like, yo, nah, you don't understand. You're going to do what everybody do. You go defense mode. Because at the end of this, what it is. Something comes up on you like, whoa, y'all don't even understand what's going on. So you go into defense mode before you go like, you know what, let me just apologize. Because you got to catch yourself. And that's how I felt what happened. Like, you go to defense mode first because you was defending your co-host first to go like, yo, with this Kendrick situation. But then it turned on to you like, nah, you got the target on your back. And they're like, nah, you think you getting out of this? Look what you did. Boom. And you're like, whoa, hold on. Wait a minute. Let me tell you. So you go into this defense mechanism before you could go into like, you know what? Y'all right. Yeah. I said this shit. This is back when X, Y, and Z was whatever it was. And I apologize for disrespecting. I apologize for coming this way. This is not what I am. This is not who I am. This don't define me. But I do apologize. And we have to hold people, like you said, you hold them accountable. But if the approaches of that already has happened and we don't know because we now learn about it, it's a different situation and we can't hold them to it.
And I feel this is where I'm at already with it. It's like, I think at the end of the day, the man apologized. He's got multiple people holding him down. Mm-hmm. They see in the situation being, and there's people coming, even the people on, like I said, Joe Budden them, they had to fall in out with Joe Budden. Even Joe Budden's able to say like, nah, he ain't that type of way. You get what I'm saying? So like, I think move on, leave Rory alone. Yeah. And plus, and now after all this blows over, I feel like this just gives them more fuel to hate Kendrick and Kendrick fans. Because, at the end of the day, now I'm just going to troll you guys. Yeah. Now that I've made it through the fire, I'm finna troll you because now you pulled out all my worst shit. You done found all the bad. Now there ain't nothing for you to talk about now. I'm finna troll you for the end of time.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, and that's what I do. So I know Rory ain't gonna hear any of this shit, but that's what I would do if I were you. Yeah, you know, I ain't gonna lie to you, but just so because Stans, you know, you can rile them up.
Yeah.
All you got to do is say that nigga breath stank, and they gonna
They
gonna go find your mama's house on Zillow and try to buy that bitch. they gonna have people at your sister's graduation,
Bro.
That's the crazy stuff, bro. That you gotta watch out. But at the same time, like I said, man, I definitely. I'm in the business of being as petty as you gonna bring petty to me. I have no qualms as we're going to the mat with you if you want to go. We gonna get into some petty jujitsu
type shit.
Yeah, boy. But anyway, man, I think we covered a good amount of stuff. There is some good music out. Wale dropped.
Yeah, his album came out.
De La Soul gonna be dropping next week. Big Crit's been dropping singles. Go listen to him. I can't wait for the glorious King Big Crit to step back onto the southern scene, baby. And he's definitely making that southern music, boy. What else? New games coming out. New system coming out. We had the Steam machine pop out.
Mm-hmm.
Man, there's a lot going on out here in these internet streets and then everything, man. Stay focused and stay locked in.
Finex. On that note, this your boy Illminder Taz. That's you. And we out of here. Peace.
The way I spit hits harder than an hour later. Y'all soon call me the new rap assassinator.